What's up, guys? What is up? I just changed up my whole thing on my stream deck, which you guys can't see, but I gotta get used to pressing the buttons. What's up, Chi? What's up, Diego? If it isn't the Among Us, oh my god, I'm such a fan. Impasta so sassy. Hello, what's up, man? I printed out all the stuff to try to figure out what team I should use. And I have Pokemon type chart effectiveness. I took your advice, Chia. I printed it out. What else do I have here? Good job, thank you. I was like trying to figure out what the best team is, but honestly, we might get new Pokemon. So, I mean, we probably will get new Pokemon. So it's kind of dumb to do it now, but yeah, I was just doing that. But how is everyone? I've also added a bunch of stuff, like this, which is kind of cool. Well, this we already had. But then I added this. Oh well, you guys will see. You guys will see with due time. But anyway, how's everyone doing? If you forget the matchups, you can look at them and figure it out, which can help you remember. Yes, but I would have to remember the types of each Pokemon. But anyway, let's get started. Let us get started. There we go. Pokemon. I'm decent. Oh yeah. You woke up good, but now you're decent, yeah? This guy was staring at my face for like half an hour. And I'm like, bruh. Oh, I love that I could press buttons and it does things. Anyway. Let's see. What do we have here? Basically, I was looking at all the guys. Nosepass sucks. He has Executor has way too many weaknesses. Cradley doesn't really have much to offer. I didn't even look into Bug. Sandslash was a good one to choose, but he would have had Water as a weakness, and we would have too many guys with Water as a weakness. Cleffa I thought of, but getting a Moonstone to fully evolve him would be really hard because items are randomized. So I pretty much dropped that idea. He might be good to drop at the daycare center, and then if we get a Moonstone to evolve him. And then Magneton is like, we already have Raichu. Oh, so this is the team for now. Daddy, Stepchu, Aqua, Son, God, and Daughter. You know what, let me take out the, I'm gonna take out the XP share from Daughter. That's what happens when you're tired 24/6. Oh, at least one day a week you're not tired. Bad team, hands down. What? Oh, because there's no Diego on it. I was also thinking, I didn't realize how powerful strength is in this game. It has 80 power. So I was thinking of adding strength, and like, from what I saw, a lot of guys could, Charizard, Raichu, Hariyama, and Steelix could learn it. And it's a physical move. Charizard, it relies on special attack. So Raichu, Hariyama, and Steelix. Raichu has enough moves. Technically, we could add it, but it's not necessary. And Steelix, we might give strength to Steelix. Steelix doesn't really have much. And then Dig, I was thinking similarly, because we don't have any ground moves, which is like important to kill poison type Pokemon and stuff. So yeah, I was like doing all this thing, and then I'm like trying to memorize all the type effectivenesses. So you guys could test me if you want throughout the stream, and I'm gonna, yeah, like what beats water, and I'll be like grass, what? Grass. What beats, and I'll answer. And electric, and rock, and fire. Yep. Yep. That is true. Well, I didn't mention all of them because some of them we already have covers for them with other Pokemon, but pretty much. Alright, what are we doing today? I don't remember. What we did last time, I want to verse Daddy today. Even not Daddy, but Daddy. We have to verse We have to verse the 4th gem. Yeah, we have to verse the 4th gem, and then hopefully we verse Daddy Norman. And yeah. What beats Dark, Ghost in Gen 3? What beats Dark or what beats Ghost? What beats Ghost is Ghost and Dark? No. Ghost and Dark. Dark beats Ghost and Dark, and Ghost beats Dark and Ghost. What beats Dark Ghost combo? Yeah, it's the same thing, which is like trippy. When I first saw that, I was like, sheesh. Okay, so now we can't verse Daddy. I don't know why I keep calling him Daddy. I think he's the 5th gym. We have 3 badges. I don't remember where the 4th gym is. I'm just curious what he'll say. You've gotten stronger. What an asshole. He doesn't even want to test my strength. Ooh, one thing we'll definitely do. Guys, I'm a genius. Remember that, remember Route 117 in Mauville? I was like, I'm not sure if we beat it or not. We actually beat it. Okay, from Petals... I mean, if we caught a Pokemon or not. We didn't catch Pokemon, so we could catch Pokemon there. But how do we get there again? I'm so confused. I was like concentrating so much on type effectiveness and other stuff that I should have paid attention also on where we have to go. Flannery is 4th gym. Fire, right? I gave you the answer. Dark Ghost... Wait, what? Ghost beats Ghost and Dark beats Ghost and Dark, no? Civil has no weakness in this game? Wait, really? Is he a Dark Ghost? Wait, is he... Whatever. What is he? Okay, I have to get to Mauville, which is right here. Verdant Turf. We never got to Verdant Turf, right? Why did we never get to Verdant Turf? I'm trying to, like, understand. So, Rustboro City, you go to the right, you go through the tunnel, and then you get to Verdant Turf. Oh, no, we were at Verdant Turf. Yeah, so we're going to go to Verdant Turf right now. Just to catch a Pokemon in Route 117, and then we'll continue what we have to do. So yeah, we're gonna go north. Ugh. Dark Ghost Pokemon has no weakness until Fairy Time exists. What do you mean? Oh, a Dark Ghost, yeah. It's Sableye Dark Ghost. I didn't realize. That's what I was trying to say. Oh my god. Oh, bruh. Imagine we actually got a Lugia as the first encounter here. That would have been so sexy. You see, I added that too. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, guys? Isn't that cool? I added like different camera angles to make it more like a TV show and to make editing easier or harder later. I don't know yet if it'll make it easier or harder. Catch it, don't use it. Nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. That would waste my balls anyway, you know? I can't do that. We ran into Deoxys in the wild. And, ooh, one thing I will do before moving on though. I do have to sell my items, because remember last time I ran out of space. So, what can we sell here? Stuff that gives us money, like a big mushroom. Let's go. What the hell? Raises the special attack of Clamperl. That's such a random thing. Okay. Soldew is for Latios and Latias? Imagine we get them. That would be awesome. What is... This is so random. Black glasses could be useful. Okay, let's get rid of this. A shard. I think blue shard... Do you guys know if blue shard can be used for anything aside from being sold? I'm a hoarder. I'm gonna keep stuff even if I don't need it. Depth, what's up? How are ya? The answer to the edit is yes, it will. Yeah. Soldew with Latios is very powerful. Yeah. Ping pong. What's up, Death? What is up, Depth? You like that? You like that little thing I just did? That's pretty cool. I thought that was cool. There's nothing else we could get rid of here. We have 2 King's Rocks, which is like so weird. I guess we could use calcium on a guy. Yeah. I never forgot what the color stone things were used for. All right, so I'm just gonna sell it then. I'm just gonna sell it. It's probably not that important. Oh, I changed my buttons for A and B, and now I'm confusing myself. All right. Oh my God, Talo. You would have been cool to have, but no, you didn't let us catch you. Move. Wait, do we have cut? I think we have cut. Bruh. I think we have cut on us. So technically we could... Ooh, we could see what this Pokeballs are. Why wide people? That's wide people, right? I know my Twitch, right? Are we gonna have level 6s here? Ooh, that's cool Pokemon. Not level 6 though. How you doing, Depth? How you doing? Oh, this is literally sad. We're just gonna boom and boom. Wait, no, I forgot to change my experience share. I swear, I have like ADHD. Alright, let's do this. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. Yes, yes, yes. Dragon Fang? Bruh. That is, oh, that is, wait, where's the button? All the buttons are in different places now. That is, wow. That was really good. Anyway. Dragon Fang is for dragon Pokemon, right? Or dragon moves or something? Yeah, raises the power of dragon type moves. That's awesome. We do have oh, I forgot to change experience share again. We do have Charizard learning dragon moves later on. So that could be useful. I learned that the trainers... Is that a cop? Jesus. I'm doing good. Hell yeah. Just finished differential equations class. Jesus. That sounds interesting. You know what? I'm gonna add WoW back. I can't. I love the WoW button. It's just so nice. So I'm gonna delete one of the you guys have to see this where I'm pressing all the buttons. It's like a lot of stuff here. Just gonna copy WoW over here. World at Warcraft and paste it here. Boom! Life is fixed. Anyway. Can you explain what that is? Bad with names. Oh, differential equation. You don't know what differential equations is? Oh my god. It's some complicated stuff. Why did my voice just change? What? Huh? What's going on? I'm so lost right now. Wait. Bruh. Oh my god. Why did that turn on? What the heck? I am sus. I'm not sus. The thing is sus. Bruh, Alright, whatever, man. How did that happen? Anyway. Did someone pay points for that? Megaphone, yeah. Did someone pay points for that, or did I just press buttons accidentally? I must have pressed buttons accidentally. Oh, let's go. This is where you don't want to fast forward in game, because it just ruins everything. I thought that was a citrus berry. I got so excited. There's one other area we didn't... Ooh, citrus berry! That was funny. There's one other area that has cut that we didn't access yet, but it's not really near us, but hopefully we access it later. For now, we're done with this. Oh, this guy's here. What does he give me? I don't remember. They give us a master... Can someone bruh right now? Bruh. Why would I need a repeat ball? I can't even use a repeat ball. That's so dumb. What a useless guy. But it's okay. He was trying to be nice. He helped us with the great balls. We caught one of our guys with the great ball, I think, so. Oh. I forgot I broke that. Come on. Alright, now we get to catch a Pokemon here, because I never ended up catching a Pokemon here. I looked back at the footage, we went through this grass, and there was literally no Pokemon. We didn't, like, see a Pokemon. What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? Okay. I was excited for something else, but... Bro, look at this guy's face, bro. I don't know. I can't. I don't know. Should we just kill him? He's a water type, right? It's Pog, is it? Is it though? Is it? I don't know. He's level 13 too. I'm scared of killing him. Water is useful though. I'm scared of killing him. Takes out electric. Quick attack? If you survive, I'll catch you. Okay. He has hypnosis. Looks like frog. You guys have bad delay? Aw. No. No, my aw button. I don't have access to my aw button. Aw. That's even more sad. Aw. Well, let me add the aw button now. Sorry, it's gonna be a bit scuffed today as I get used to this. Okay, now we're good. That sucks, guys. Yo, what's up, Chris? How you doing? Looks like frog. Yeah, he does look like a frog. Alright, we're gonna catch him here. I think he's just a water type. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I definitely need to buy more great balls, though. Let's look it up. Oh, Huh? Huh? He's gonna die in 3 turns, right? Oh, no. No, but if I change out, then he's gonna... Now he's gonna die in 2 turns. Okay, we're fine. Hey, what's up, Mac? Sorry I was late, was playing Cookie Run. No worries. Everyone's awesome with Cookie Run now? Correct, he is water time? Okay. Switching out, it's fine, yeah. It's still a bit scary just to see it, and he's gonna die. Got my main team to level 34. Nice. Very nice. And a better healer. Damn. Yeah, so what'd you learn in differential equations? He's dead. Well, I didn't want him anyway. He was gonna complicate the equation for me, so it's fine. Before I forget, let's get that freaking thing over here. Wait, what am I doing? Let's take daughter's experience share, and we'll give it to God. God is interesting because, like, he only has 1 HP, but he has attack, so he could actually be useful if we train him up a bit. And then, of course, he won't be fighting much, but... And then Aqua is also interesting. I didn't know this. Wobbuffet can't learn any move. Wobbuffet literally has, like, 4 moves, and it can't learn any other move. Maybe it could learn, like, 1 other move or something. Like, I don't know. My soul lives on in sun. Sun is right here. I have a reading quiz tomorrow. Oh, science quiz? Good luck. May you prevail. I don't know if it was dumb to give experience share to God. Those moves are good. True, they are very good. Especially for the Elite Four. It's basically like Destiny Bond on the last guy in the Elite Four. But he has to survive, that's the thing. But I could just hyper potion stuff. Wobbuffet has amazing health. True. So, yeah. Him and God could, like, wipe out, like, the champion, hopefully. If things work out. Okay, so... From what I remember, we have access now to Team Magma, to the layer there. Which means we'll need Rock Smash. Which means we'll need stupid Mommy. So Mommy is gonna replace... I don't know who I want Mommy to replace right now. I guess Steelix. Steelix is level 24. I'm not feeling it much with Daughter. I once played the Yogai Watch game, and I questioned why one of the main characters ran in a weirdish way. Fast forward today, and guess what? I run in that exact way. Why, did someone, like, record you running, and then you just... I mean, look at how the guy in this game runs. Look at that. He runs so weird. Like, why? His head is literally like this. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway. Cookie Run is kind of like Genshin, but level-based and not open world and with cookies. Wait, are you serious? I thought Cookie... I'm thinking about Cookie Clicker. I'm stupid. No static Pokemon. Can we get some awes in chat? I'll just assume everyone said aw. Alright, we caught everything here. Yes! What? Was this guy here? Oh, he was. Yes, I remembered! We have to come here. I forgot to buy Great Balls. We only have 6. Ooh, I'm so brilliant. We didn't do... I'm so slow, too. Alright, we need to... Once we get fly, this game will be much better. Because I'm lost. Yeah. Damn. But yeah, did you record yourself running and then compare it to Yokai Watch? You can make that like a TikTok. You'll become famous. I'm not even joking. Plus, did I heal here? Okay. Oh yeah. I came here to... Jesus, I have the brain of a goldfish, the memory of a goldfish. We want your balls. We'll buy 11. We'll buy 3. I don't want to buy too much because we're gonna get ultra balls eventually. Same with super potions for hyper potion. Why is it called ultra ball but hyper potion? Yo, it's David. A long time no see. How are you? How is the YouTube grind? That's you, right? You should train up Aqua and God. Yeah. I gave experience share to God, and Aqua is level 10. I guess I could take out Aqua. I probably should, but I'm just gonna blitz through some stuff first. No, I didn't? Oh. Should take a video, it'd be funny. How you doing, David? Oh my god, I remember how annoying it was to run. Oh, it's empty. I remember how annoying it was to wait for this cable car. And boom, we just skipped it. Let's go. I love this music, bro. We're gonna keep making more land. Wow. Insane. Alright. Where do we go? Oh, if I were just... This guy... Yo, Archie's a beast. Trying to inject the power into the volcano. Ugh. I always thought this was so cool. But why do they all have Puchianas? Like, bruh. It doesn't make sense. Look at it. It's so dumb. Like, they and one Puchiana against 3 right here. If you ever play Cookie Run, play on pure vanilla, because that's what I'm on. Okay. Sounds interesting. I don't know what levels they are. But I'm not scared, because I have beasts. So I'm gonna double battle here.
We have Team Magma are working hard. Like, if there's power, everyone would be happy. If there were more land,
I'd be able to get a big house of my own. Bruh. Like, it's just a house. You don't need more land to buy a house. I hope someone could tell her that. Hoochiana breeding? Oh, your laptop died? Yeah, I was just saying, sucks you didn't have that on video of your running. And that, yeah, I'm kind of training God, because I have, oh, this will be easy. I have God as a XP share, and I'll do that for Aqua soon. I don't understand, people are always complaining. It's in human nature. But yeah. We're gonna fake this bay leaf out. They're level 20, actually. That's kind of high. Whoa! Critical hit almost killed a... Jesus, I did not expect that. Let's go, God! Let's go, God! You don't need Sand Attack. Actually, Sand Attack could be useful. Let's get rid of Scratch, since we have Cut. Could be useful... Writer Jessica. What do you mean I lost? My dream of a big house. Like, oh my god.
A kid like you ought to be splashing about in the waves.
Yo, they think I'm like a Sapphire guy. About how Hoenn is like 70% of water. And then they go and foil Team Magma. Bro, I like Aqua. I mean, I like Team Agua. I like the water team, okay? You know why? Because Archie is cooler, and he's like a brute man, and I respect that. Manager Forest. Why is a manager fighting? I'm Team Aqua Gang. Let's go. Even though you're just... You're like, I don't understand why they're complaining. Team Aqua Gang. Roll out gang. Roll out gang. Tentacle. Roll out gang. Acid. Rollout is so risky. God, level 10, let's go! Oh! What? No! What? I thought Stepchu was gonna be with us till the end, to be honest. Oh my god. God, why would you do that? Ah. Ah. Archie and the admins are pog. Wait, what? Unlike those other people, I like Hoenn being 70% otter. Yeah, me too. Don't be. I have to release him into nature. I have to. Are you serious? And I thought my team was OP. Why did they go up so many levels all of a sudden? Bro! What the hell is wrong with you? You just killed my Pokemon! Suicide bomber. Oh my god. Yeah, I am trying to spread disease. This morning I was Kingdom level 18, now Kingdom level 27. Damn, is that high? I don't know enough about Cookie Run. No, we lost! Oh my god, we lost Stepchu! Oh, what's up, Doctor? What's up?
I can't believe it. He's dead.
He's dead. He's dead. Forever. 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 Sorry I broke your ears. Sorry I broke your ears. Sorry I broke your ears. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. But we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. We're gonna get another electric type. It's not over, Stepchu. It's not over, Stepchu.
It's not over. We will survive. We will overcome.
I just wanted an excuse to do all that also, I'm not gonna lie, that was so cool. I'm sorry that the rain was too loud. Do you guys like that? Did you guys like that? Did you like that acting? Did you like the... Oh, well, I tried, I don't know. Improvise, adapt. overcome. Oh my god. I added all that last night. I was getting so excited. But Jesus, I am sad that Step 2 died. I don't know. I don't know how to work with this. We also lost the item that was on him. We had magnet on him. We can't take it back now. We're gonna go with Sun first, just to have the thing, and then we're gonna, what's it called? To make him whatever. You guys know the move, and then we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Daddy could take care of his team. Daddy and Son. Now I really hate Team Magma. Come on, bro. You let one of your guys kill one of my guys, Maxi. Oh my god, he talks so much, bro. Alright, let's see. He has 3 Pokemon. Hopefully they're not that high level. Mighty Anna, level 24. What's Mighty Anna's type? Dark? Mighty Anna type. Yeah, he is dark. And as I recall, dark is beaten by fighting. Bug. Fighting and bug beats dark? Oh. This is perfect. How you gone? You gonna have an anime monologue? Yeah, it was cool, right? Compared to the other evil teams, Team Magma and Aqua are more like Colts. True. They are like Colts. I like Aqua more, though. Alright, guys, what move do we do here? Obviously, Vital Throw. Okay, obviously Vital Throw. If you were thinking any different, then you're wrong. He flinched? I'm an idiot, I forgot to use Fake Out. I literally mentioned the reason why... I'm so stupid. I literally wanted Sun out to use Fake Out first, and then I was like talking about Vital Throw. I was thinking Arm Thrust. Do I even have Arm Thrust on him anymore? Let's go, oh. Crawdaunt. Crawdaunt is water, right? No. Raichu would have killed him. Raichu. Oh my god, bro. Raichu would have killed him, bro. Oh, that's so annoying. Right. Crawdaunt type. I think he's just water, right? What? Oh, he's a water dark. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't press my weakness. What's his weakness? Fighting, bug, grass, electric. Oh. Does fighting just demolish everything? Jesus. Son, you're carrying us. You got rid of it? Yeah, I got rid of it, I guess. Oh, that's a big boy, though. Come on, what are you protecting, bro? Bruh! Yo, I could go all day. Well, no, I only have 7 more, but, you know. One hit? Oh, he's gonna heal up. Good. Use your heals. Use your heals. Waste your heals. Rocker Ann. See that name? Yo, this is intense. For intense battles, do we do this? Let's go! Easy, baby. Easy. What's his last guy? What's his last guy? God leveling up. Let's go. Hitmonlee? Isn't Hitmonlee just fighting? Or am I dumb? Hitmonlee. Yeah, he's just fighting. So Psychic and Flying would beat him. Psychic and Flying. Oh! Whatever, we'll stick with Sun. Level 25. Oh, it's kind of high. I guess we'll have to Rock Tomb him. Vital Throw might be doing more damage here. Yeah, I'm dumb. Think fast, what type is Phantom? Isn't that the ghost guy? I don't know. Ah! Oh, Brick Break shouldn't do much, right? Did more than I expected. We're just gonna get a... Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. Well, never mind. We're just gonna get a Super Potion in here. Come on, Super Potion. We have to keep looking at the dead statue, bro. It's so sad. I thought it was gonna be Hitmonchan. Nah, Hitmonlee. It's like Bruce Lee. Look at his leg. Ah! Oh my god! Bro! Look at that HP! Look at those legs! What is this? Oh my god. Is this even worth it? He's only gonna heal by 50. Oh. No, I'm an idiot. He might die. 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 No, no. Oh, oh my god. Too scary, bro. Too scary, this game. This game is way too scary. No. Don't kill him. Don't kill him. Bro, come on. I don't know what you've done wrong, bro. Oh, come on. Do your speech if he dies. He's not gonna die. How many? Bro, stop using Brick Break. I honestly don't know what to do at this point. I honestly don't know what to do. Bring out God? Actually, don't. God dies from rock, ghost, dark, flying fire. That might be smart to bring out God so I could heal up Sun. We saw all his moves. All his moves were fighting moves, right? I think we're gonna take out God here. I think that's smart. I'm sorry that your stream is laggy. Try refreshing, that helps sometimes. No idea. Rock, ghost, dark, flying fire. There's no fighting there. Come on. Things should be good here. Haha! Get out of my face, Hitmonlee! Look at that ugly face, bro. Oh my god. Okay. We could use this. I just realized the chat is messed up when I go. I have to fix that. Fix chat when zooming in. I don't know what's going on there. Fix chat when zooming in. Oh. We could use this time to use super potions on our boy. Oh, works out. Focus energy. You're just gonna miss your move. Let's go. Okay. Wait, can I just... Yo, I could just sand attack him. I'm just gonna sand attack him. That's it. I'm a genius. Guys, am I a genius? You have been refreshing? You lagged during the lag? That sucks. Hopefully it fixes soon. I don't know why it's lagging for you. We're just gonna keep sand attacking here. Okay. We're gonna leech life. Just because we can. Yeah. One day you need a break where we just sit and talk, you deserve it. Okay, thanks. I mean, I lagged during the fighting. Gotcha. Where I did all those buttons. Alright, we're gonna go to Sun. Sun should be much better here. And Hitmonlee's accuracy is very low, so I think we should be good here. Yes, let's go! He missed. We're running out of vital throws. I'm kind of curious how much it'll do. Oh, now he doesn't miss. Let's go! I didn't realize it would be a one-hit KO. That was easier than I thought. Like... Get the hell out of here, Maxi. Get out of here, bro. You suck. Oh. And there's our boy. Look how beautiful this man looks. So beautiful, Archie. I like you. I agree with all your plans. I'm on your side. Such a good guy. I mean, he's probably not a good guy. Let's be honest, but I like him. All right, let me see. I just noticed something. The green screen is not perfect and it's getting to me. It's actually infuriating me inside. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. Sorry, guys. Yeah. We're almost perfect here. We're almost perfect. I pretended that I froze. Did that fix it? That didn't fix it. Why is the visual bug? Whatever. It is what it is. Oh. Jesus. We lost a lot there. We lost a lot. That was a sad battle. I'm not gonna lie, that was a very sad battle. Why do I have to lose Raichu out of all people? She sells lava cookies. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to heal everyone. And then we'll come back here. Since we could fast forward, it's not a big deal. But from what I remember, there's a couple more trainers there, so. Oh, what a sad day. Nah, it's not bad, it's not bad. We're gonna beat some trainers, we'll be all good. Alright. Test? Test? What's the test? Alright, it's time to release our boy into the wild with Magnet. I'm sorry, Steptrue. It's time to leave us. You're leaving this earth. You will no longer be with us. These are sad times. We did a lot. You reached level 31. I thought you would be with us till the end. You had Thunderbolt. A self-destruct kill. I don't wanna talk about it anymore. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts a little to release Pokemon. I guess Steelix is back on. And then we'll add Sandslash. I guess. The test was me saying that? Oh. Gotcha. One day, Mac, I'll take that break. The point of naming them is to get attached, to be fair. Yeah, that's true. It's just sad, you know? It's like, I really thought he would go with us all the way. Like, he's a good Pokemon. He never screwed up, bro. He never screwed up. Every time we used him, he never screwed up. You know? Like, we had other Pokemon screw up. He never screwed up. And a self-destruct had to take him out? Bro. Ugh, they're kind of high levels now, too. I'll just knock you off. Really? Are you serious? Stop. Are you serious? Stop double attacking. Double teaming. There you go. Jesus. I didn't read what his next Pokemon was. Oh, I thought that was a psychic move. I got really scared. Why are you poisoning my boy? What did he do to you? Oh my god. So messed up. We're gonna catch a new Pokemon here too. Unless I'm dumb. Let's put this on Sun. So Mount Chimney, we can't catch any Pokemon here. Unless I'm dumb. You sound distraught. I am a little bit because we lost our boy. But it is what it is, you know? Wait, what is this? Jagged Pass. Let me just write it down. Jagged Pass. Jagged Pass. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but Jagged Pass. We're catching a Pokemon here no matter what, okay? I forgot which way is better. Oh, it doesn't matter here. What are we getting? What are we getting? What are we getting? Okay. Ammonite. Okay. Okay, not bad, not bad. Not gonna lie, not bad. It's not a bad Pokemon. Ember shouldn't kill it, right? Because it's like water or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Stop water gunning me! Oh, everyone just wants to kill me today. Okay, there we go. Now we could catch you. BRB? Okay. Come on, Great Ball. You got this, Great Ball. You didn't get it. Come on. Come on. Bro. Oh my god. Do you want me to kill you? Are you serious? Bro. Look at his HP. Oh my god. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing, step bro? Come on. Bro, are you what else can I do? Finally, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. What are we naming him? What are we naming him, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? What is his name? I'm good with whatever except probably like one or two things. But yeah, what do you guys want to name him? I'll take any suggestions except like a few suggestions. If I have no suggestions, I will name him whatever I want to name him. I don't know what to name him. Why is it so hot in this room all of a sudden? Did my internet die again? What happened? Or is no one here? That's fine. I will try to think of a name. Omanite. Omanite. It sounds like man, so I'm gonna name him Man. I just named him Man. Okay. There's more grass there, which does nothing for us. Nothing there. This guy doesn't fight us, I think. Oh, he does fight us. Okay. Oh, I should have healed. I really should have healed. I'm playing way too casually. Way too casually today. He has Rock Tomb? I don't think it'll kill us. So I'm just gonna heal Sun over here. He has Psybeam. What an annoying guy. Don't miss. Okay, we're fine, we're fine. Thankfully, it didn't use Rock Tomb. Hit the end of the main part of Celestine. Nice! Very nice. Pseudo-Wudo. I always forget what kills Pseudo-Wudo. I really do. Because it's like grass, but it's not grass. It's like a tricky one. You know, it tries to be tricky. Fighting grass, water, ground, steel kills it. Yeah, we should... I'm tempted to use Daughter even. But I don't even know if Daughter has any steel moves. She doesn't. Oh, you're so bad, Daughter. You're so bad. Not like that, though. Alright. Bye. Ooh, Furry Swipes. Pseudo-Wudo's Rock. That's what he is. Thank you. 36 to... What is it, 90 damage? I guess taking out Harden. Harden's literally the worst move you could have on him. Like, there's literally no point of having it. Oh, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't. Okay. Let's verse her. Torkoal. Torkoal could have some ground moves which could be annoying, so we're going to switch to Sun. Unfortunately, we pretty much only have two guys now. Are you serious? Can you knock it off? Knockoff is so bad. Oh my god. It did like nothing. Aerodactyl. We know who could have protected. Oh, Aerodactyl. I wish we had our boy. Recovery moves would be equally useless. True, but at least they attack. So they're not... Actually, no, they're not... Well, yeah, Recover is useless. But Leech Seed is not as useless because at least it attacks, you know? I don't know. Oh, Steel is super effective. I knew that. Steel beats Rock and... I've been trying to test myself. So Steel beats Rock and Ice, right? Zangoose is just normal? I think? I might be wrong. I'm going to keep Daddy just because we're a bit low on health. So we're just gonna steal attack here, and then Ember him, and that's fine. God is leveling up pretty nicely. Let's see what this is. Quick Claw! Hell yeah! Are you serious? Guys, Quick Claw is so good. I'll tell you guys why. If we go here to Aqua, and we give Quick Claw to Aqua, then like it's so good. Oh no, wait, I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. Counter retaliates any physical hit with double the power. I mean, we could put like we could put a safeguard, I guess. So it's not that good. I don't know why I thought that was so good. Oh, to Destiny Bond with Quick Claw in case we would have to. But yeah, to Destiny Bond. That's why it's good on Aqua. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. All right, let's jump here. So we could. Oh, we have to heal up. Oh my god, imagine losing everyone right here. That would be so sad. I'll just go here. Sorry for the rain being very loud before, too. I don't know why that just popped in my head. We don't have many super potions left. But this should be good. I don't want to double battle. And I should have double battled. Who knew you would have a Pidgey, bro? Alright, bro. What do you have? A Grumpig. Should be fine here. Ooh, Daddy's learning Flamethrower. Let's go. This is why I love Daddy. I love Daddy. He's so pretty. All right, we're gonna get rid of Scratch here. Even though Ember is probably better to get rid of, but you know, it is what it is. It's funny. I'm like waiting for certain Pokemon to evolve, and then I remember they can't. Can we use Flamethrower on you? Yes. Oh, yes. Look at that. I don't care who you use. We got Flamethrower, bro. It's over. It's over. We got it perfect timing for the next gym, too. I forget that guy versus you. Okay, we're gonna buy a bunch of stuff right here. Ooh, we get to see what the egg will be, too. And we could finally get rid of our sucky boy here. And put Sand Slash. Oh my god. Our guys are way too low level. Some of them. Let's get the egg. Let's get the egg real quick. Let's see what we're gonna get from the egg. We could. I'm tempted to take the experience share because I'm not gonna be using God that often. I'm tempted to take it off him and put it on someone that we could actually use faster. Yeah, and I'm just gonna do that. We're gonna give it to Mouse. Where is it? There we go. And then we'll just put Steelix in here for now to get our egg. What do you guys think the egg will be? I hope it's something sexy. Alright. Give me your egg, baby. Alright. Ooh, we don't have Fly yet. So let's be careful and not go this way. I think we get Fly after this gym. So, yeah. Oh, this guy doesn't fight. Yeah, okay. So how do we get the best? Maybe we just go back and forth here. Wow, this is exciting, guys. This is very exciting. Oh, let's not get out of the area. Come on. Jesus, I feel so stupid today. Ditto? You think it's gonna be a Ditto? Or ditto that you feel stupid too today. Come on. It might be a ditto. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind it. I guess ditto would be cool. I don't know. Ditto would make the game more interesting. I mean, we have Shedinja. Ooh, let's see what it is. Dun, 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 dun. Bruh. Are you serious? Bruh, I can't use him. Oh, what is this game doing? Oh. What's up, Angel? Blowjoy? What is that? Just kidding. I'm not gonna give that to you. Jesus. What is this? Herbs? These could actually be useful. We might come back here before like Elite Four or something. I know. Charcoal. Okay. I know that Pokemon don't like it though. Meow. How you doing, bro? Bro. How you doing? You like that? You like that? That's cool, right? Okay. Let's see. Move Pokemon. Good? Good. Happy you're doing good. I'm kind of scared of versing the gym. Useless can stay in the box. Technically, we have to release them because we can't catch... Well, we didn't catch Useless. But we can't have duplicates. But we'll just leave them there. Steelix will come here. Charizard's level 34, which is pretty crazy. What's tomorrow? I don't know. Tomorrow's Friday. See, clearly I did it in disguise. Yo, you're kind of right. You are gonna... Yeah, it is a rip. Is that how delayed you are? Jesus. Yes, yes, yes. Ugh, look at her looking at me. Let's first them all. What level are they gonna be? That's kind of high. We pretty much only have 2 Pokemon now. It's so sad. I'm gonna flamethrower you and... Actually, I'm gonna fake out you. Damn it. Let's go! Let's go, Mouse! Mouse is gaining them levels. There we go. Mouse level 10, baby! Oh, your birthday! Yeah, that's true. That is true. What are you gonna do for your birthday? Nothing here? I want to fight all the trainers. No trainers? There we go. Let's go. Look at that stupid face. Get flamethrowered, baby. Get out of my face. There we go. Bro, I could just flamethrower everything. Jesus, it's so good. You don't reach out for 2 minutes straight? Is that how delayed you are? Am I... Is it... I'm sorry. I'm a bit concentrated. I apologize. Come in, let's say. Make a cake and get wrecked? Wrecked? What do you mean wrecked? Is that what you were actually trying to say, or... I need a better... Listen, I just changed up my setup. I made some mistakes, okay? I'll fix it for next stream. But, yeah. It is what it is. What with all these normal Pokemon? Totally not gonna sim for Vampire Lady. What's Vampire Lady? That sounds so familiar. Someone mentioned that before. Is that a movie or something? Okay, double battle? Nope, okay. Yo, these battles are easy! We're flying through this. No, there we go. Resident Evil 8? Ah. Oh, you talked about it before, that's why. Damn. Cool. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, this is the wrong way. That is obviously the wrong way. I don't even think I went down this way. There we go. I might not even need to heal up. Look at these Pokemon, bro. They're so easy. And there's nothing here. Look it up. REA. Send a link. Send a picture, like an Google Images. Or maybe you don't want to do that. I think we have to go up here. And then we go up. And no, I'm an idiot. These puzzles are confusing. That's what makes them cool, I guess, though. Here. Oh my god, this is just back. Okay, we have to go here. And we have to go up. Then we go down. Ah, that's what it was, yeah. Then here should be trainer. No trainers? Oh, are you kidding me? I'll try. Okay, cool. Alright, son, I'm getting the new one. It's RE8. Nice, for your birthday. Oh my god, how am I screwing this up? I'm actually dumb. What else is new? Here. Here. Nande. Here. 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 There we go. And then we could go here. And here. Here. Oh, we made it! But we missed a trainer or two, so we're going back. Yes, and here. What is this? Bruh. Bruh, why you look at these, bruh? Bruh, what is this? Oh my god. All my buttons are all screwed up. I gotta fix things. I gotta add the browser button. Add browser button to Pokemon Dark. Sorry, I see what it is though. It's a very sheesh type thing. I will fix everything, okay? This not point link? What? This not point link? What does that mean? Alright, let's go up here. And then let's go up here. Let's go up down here. That was an accident. Oh, we just go back. We go here. I don't remember if it was here or the other one. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Okay, we go here. Then we go here. Then we go here. Then we go here. And now we go to the third one. Because it's the wrong one. There's no Pokemon here. Oh my god, that was so useless. Okay, let's just go heal up. I'm kind of scared for this battle. No sim for her? Oh, you don't sim for her? Oh, wow. Okay, let's look up the Pokemon. Flannery, Pokemon Emerald. Let's see. Flannery in Pokemon Emerald has 4 Pokemon. Her highest is a level 29. That is pretty high. That's a pretty high level Pokemon. Kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. That being said, we do have high level Pokemon, but we really only have 2 Pokemon that can fight, and then Guide. I mean, Daughter can fight, but has no moves. I might add a move or 2 here, just for this battle. I'm kind of scared. We're gonna add Dig. We'll give Dig to Mouse. That doesn't help for this battle. Should have given it to Steelix. I'm stupid. And Strength is actually a good move. Has 80 attack. That we could give to Daughter. It's just a normal move, so I don't... And then you say, sorry. You don't mean sorry because you said all that. No, I won't do it, Angel, okay? Jesus, you're too young. Okay. Give him strength. And hopefully strength is enough for this battle. Oh, God. Yes. All right. You guys think we'll win this battle? You think we'll lose anyone here? I have a feeling we're gonna lose someone here. There we go. Oh, there's no point of saving, but I'm gonna save anyway because I can. Jesus. Just playing around. Yes, yes. Okay. Alright, let me go with the regular strategy, actually. We're gonna go with Sun so we could fake out the first Pokemon. And hopefully I don't forget to fake out. Whew! This is kind of scary. Linoon. Oh, perfect. Perfect. This is actually perfect. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, all right, this should be fine. We're just gonna fake out for the free damage. And then we're gonna Vital Throw. I flinched, really? And then the sand attack. That's actually very annoying. Linoon like kind of helps the rest of the Pokemon out right there. Metang. Thank God it's not Metagross. Metang dies to Ground, Ghost, Fire, Dark. Ground, Ghost, Fire, Dark. Oh, perfect. Oh, I should have known it dies. It's a Steel. Isn't it Steel? It dies to Fire, yeah. Alright, we should be fine here as well. Let's see. Flamethrower should demolish Metang. Let's go. Let's go. Not even 1 HP. Alright, here we'll just, Ooh, Mouse level 15. Let's go. Hoot Hoot. Hoot Hoot is another normal type, no? Unless I'm dumb. Maybe Dark? Or Ghost? Hoot Hoot type. I'm pretty sure it's just a normal type. Oh, it's a normal flying. Oh, it's not Noctowl even, so... Ice, Electric, Rock kills it. Hoot Hoot has... I would take out Sun for Rock Tomb, but it might have a flying move. I don't think it'll have a Water, Rock, or... Yeah, I think it's better to have Daddy out here. I will not say Sussy Baka. Those are cool emotes. Sussy Baka. I will never say that word. He's a level 29, though, which is kind of high. Flamethrower should do a lot of damage, though. We should be good here. Oh! Ooh, he missed his Hypnosis. He's most likely gonna heal here. I'll just Flamethrower again. Let's go! Last Pokemon, please don't be something insane. Paris. Oh, okay. I think this is the easiest gym battle ever. This might be the easiest gym battle. We actually demolished. We demolished her. That was so easy. Jesus, what is that face, Angel? Mouse is level 16 too. Get out of here, Jacqueline. Ooh, we also get Overheat, which might be good to give Daddy. Right now, Flamethrower is good enough on Daddy, but Overheat could be very, very useful. I think she gives Overheat. Right? What does she give? Look at that fire sexy badge on screen now. Oh, yep, Overheat. I think something happened. Yep, there she is. There she is. There's my girl. Long time no see, baby. How you doing? How's life? We got the Googles. Let's go. Let's go. Make love with Daddy? No. Don't tell me how to live my life. Alright. It's cool because after the Team Magma thing, in Pokemon Emerald, everything moves so quick. But then after Team Magma, everything moves so slow. And then after Team Magma over there, like, everything's so fast. Like, you verse the 4th gym, and then right away you verse the 5th gym, and then, you know? Well, at least those two things are fast, I should say. And then it becomes a bit more interesting again. Do we keep experience share on Mouse? The thing is, Daughter, it's kind of hard to say here. I want to train the other guys more, but I don't know how to. In a way that's, like, good. Alright, let's go here. Lava Cookie. We could finally go in here, which is a new area. I think. No, it's still considered Route 116. Never mind. Oh, a Nuzlocke would have been awesome. But unfortunately, it doesn't count, guys. So we're just gonna run away from that. Did I heal up after that battle? Oh, I guess May healed me up. We're just gonna see what this is. It's a potion. Unfortunately, the castle isn't here. We would have gotten a free Pokemon like that. I think we could go in and out to just have it appear, though. So it should be fine. Let's go. Okay, let's see what's in here. What will our new Pokemon be in Mirage Tower? I freaking love this music. What will we get? Ooh, a Soul Rock. Interesting. I honestly don't even know what to think of that. Let's see Soul Rocks. Soul Rock weakness. I want to see if we'll add it to the team. Jesus. Soul Rock dives from Dark, Grass, Bug, Steel, Water, and Ghost. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna use it. That's way too many things to die from, you know? Let's see. Vital Throw. Yeah, we're just gonna fake it out. We'll just catch it just cause. Any name suggestions from y'all? If we don't kill it? Oh, it had Confusion. That could be annoying. I don't know how much I want to even catch it. Stop confusing me. Okay. We should be able to catch it with the next Great Ball. Sunkiss? Okay, maybe. Any family ideas? This is Mirage Tower. I just have to write down every place I catch a Pokemon. Luna? Luna. Luna sounds like a person's name. I like Luna. Stepson? But it has no gender, though. So. Get it? Let's go with Luna. Good suggestions all around. We'll go with Luna. I don't think we get anything from going all the way up. Or can we actually verse Rayquaza now and try to catch it? We don't have a... Can we actually go all the way up? Or do we need something that we don't have? Does anyone know? Oh my god. I don't have Rock Smash. For some reason I thought we got Fly. But we don't have Fly. Sorry, Angel. I should have done it for your birthday too. Do I want to explore this area? You know what? We're gonna explore this area. So we could at least get some levels up before versing Daddy Boy. We have to make our other guys better too. We also have to make sure we have enough super potions, because this area is kind of annoying. And all that stuff. Oh, we got a lava cookie, but that's not the same. And I'm an idiot who didn't buy more super potions. It is what it is. Yeah. I don't play this. I play Warzone, so I don't know. Oh. Oh, he's just staring at me. They're actually kind of high levels. It might be worth training the other guys here. The trainers might demolish our guys, though. Yeah, I think it's better just to have it like this for now. We're just gonna Vital Throw him, and he's dead. Oh, I didn't pay attention. Oh, it's Trico? Trico might have Peck? Huh. I'm gonna change into Daddy here. Let's use Flamethrower. Oh my god, I have to stop... Oh, Salamence? I have to stop skipping out of it. Ice Dragon Fairy Rock. No, Salamence could be really bad trouble. I'm just gonna Flamethrower it. Oh, okay, we're fine. He's dead. Ooh, Mouse. Ooh, Mouse trying to use Poison Sting, which is actually useful. See, I think here, Mouse... I forgot Mouse has Dig, too. Once Mouse gets to a certain level, I'm going to use it more often. Okay. Oh, this connects back up. Why would I want to go back up there, though? What the heck? Why are they all the same Pokemon here? This is Vital Throw. Piloswine. I think Flamethrower kills that. Right, guys? That's Flamethrower. Dead. Let's go. I was right. Yes! Winged attack. Winged attack. Wing attack. We need wing attack. Gonna take out Ember. Easy decision. Easiest decision of my life. I got her with a hotkey puck, and I got hit with one as hard as... Bro, I fell in the floor. You're not gonna get me this time, okay? Fell in this dick. Alright? You're not gonna get me this time. Let me just remind myself. Fix camera. Chat and black background. I have a lot to fix with this new thing I just added. But that's what happens, right? You add things, you learn from them. I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, I can't take any risks here. But I do want to see what's here. Okay. A Swampert. Oh, Swampert is such a good Pokemon. We're going to fake you out. We're going to Vital Throw you. Let's go. Move. Nothing there? Really? I think there is something here, but you need to have your identifier thing on. Or there's nothing here and I'm completely wrong. Ooh, I just realized. This is so perfect. You know why, guys? They made this, I think, on purpose. So you have quick access to the healing here. Oh my god, that's so cool. The pain of the dick in your ass. Bro, I'm being for real. I really got hit with it and started to bleed. Oh, well, if you actually did... Oh, damn. I'm sorry about that. I hope your toe feels better. I don't know. But if you didn't, then you, bro. Nah, I'm joking. But why would you lie to me? To my face. My sexy face. Look at this guy training so hard. You know, oh, look at him. Oh my god, he's so good. He's a good trainer. Are you guys, like, what do you guys think of the change, the scene changes? Like, honestly, what do you guys think? Those of you that didn't answer. Yo, if we caught a Miltank, that would have been so cool. Because I think it's really cool, the scene changes. All of this is one route. Is this all the same route? I feel like it changes at one, like, around here, no? Maybe not. I guess not, I should say. I'm gonna fake you out. And then Vital Throw. Oh my god, he has confusion. We're fine, we're fine. Wartortle. What is this luck? In terms of bad luck. Like, oh my god, this is terrible. We have just enough super potions. Just like you nailed his mom. I did, but it was a secret. I think you could get one of the Reggies here or something. I don't know. I should have healed up my guy. And we're fine. These guys suck. We're gonna fake out him, which we'll use... Oh, I really thought he was gonna use Helping Hand. Wait, what the hell happened? Why didn't my boy use an attack? What did my boy use an attack? There we go. I knew she was gonna use Helping Hand. Let's go! We're demolishing her. Okay, we gotta be really careful here not to lose. She talked about me nailing your mom. Sheesh! That sounds like a problem. I don't know why I used Wing Attack, but it worked. Mouse is level 20, let's go. Okay, Nidoqueen could actually be very annoying here. Unfortunately, we can't really change too many guys. We're just gonna hope that we kill him. Oh, he had Poison Sting. Okay. Now that he's like level 20, we're gonna take this. And we're actually gonna give it to Are you serious? Again, it's full? Everything is full? I think we could trade... You know what? You're gonna have a... That doesn't even matter. We have 2 berry juices. I'm so stupid. Bro, caught in 4K. Why are you taking pictures? Sheesh. I don't even know. Mako Brace. Let's give you a Never Melt Ice. Because why not? And now we could take this. And we could give you Jesus, not a potion, but that's actually something I could use. I don't need a potion. I could use that right now, so it gets out of this area. Where's the XP share? Am I dumb? Don't answer that. I know I'm dumb. What? Oh, he has the XP share. Bro, oh my god, this is actually so frustrating. First world problems. The new longest fall in my Jump King map is now very painful. 27 rooms? They just had a new Jump Kings map come out, right? Did you try it out? I've heard that they've had one. I don't know the deets, but yeah. Here is where you could summon the Regiices and stuff, I think. Skill swap? The hell does that do? This better be amazing. Switches abilities with the foe. Ew! Why don't you give me something good, like Ice Beam? We're gonna fake you out. Nose pass, as we all know, sucks. We'll just do that. Huh? Smelling salt. Powerful against paralyzed foes, but also heals them? Why would I want to heal my foes? But you know what? Knockoff sucks, so we're gonna remove that. Even though it's our only dark move. Damn it, I didn't read that. Oh no! Oh, he's a level 22. We should be fine. Hey, let's go! Let's go. Unlurk. Such a noob. Unlurk. Person reading this have huge schlank. Aww. That's so sweet. Thank you. Just as in almost 2 months ago? Yeah, I beat it a while ago. No, not that one. You told me you beat that one. I think like really recently. I could be wrong though. Oh my god. Okay. We're gonna fake out here. And then we're gonna vital. Too quick, bro. Too quick. Was that the last guy? I think that was the last guy. Yeah, we actually... Oh my god. Machamp. Machamp, get out of my face. We actually versed everyone here. We could go up top to heal, which is what we're gonna do. Whee! Look at this skill. Oh, I missed. Come on, Grandma, give me your stuff, baby. Why are you umming? There is not another one yet. Abaddon is the creator that has the next closest map, which will probably come out late October. Are you well known in the Jump King community? Look at this beautiful woman. Ooh, she gave us a berry. Thank you. What a nice woman. If I remember correctly, going to the left here does nothing. Let's see if I remember correctly. Going to the left goes to Fowlerbore, and I have to get to Petalsburg. I have to get back home. How do I get to Petalsburg, guys? Without Fly. And without Rock Smash. That's so annoying. I mean, I basically have to go all the way. I could just go back around. You know what, guys? I'm gonna do the Mirage Tower first. I think there's something at the top, right? Oh my god. Right, guys? I'm gonna single okay ping pong. He has a long shong. He play pong. He plays the hong. He unplugs his mother. What? No, I don't. Only when she asks for it. Oh, let's go. Oh, if we had an Abra, that would have been so sexy. I used to think like Psychic is so good. Psychic dies from Bug, Dark, and Ghost, but it's only super effective against the two things, and there's such random things. I forgot what it was, but... Is there anything on the left side here? I don't remember. I don't know about well known. I'm pretty active, and I've talked to Devebs and the new map. That's pretty cool. Abra Balls. Psychic was the best in Gen 1. Maybe that's why. Maybe. What was it like in Gen 1? I don't remember. Wait, don't tell me you need Rock Smash, bro. No. I'm not... Bro, you need Rock... Oh? The hell? Okay, you know what? No, we're doing this later. It looks like you need Rock Smash. How could you leave him hanging like that, Diego? That's messed up. That's actually just so rude. Alright, looks like we're gonna have to go back to get Rock Smash. What an annoying game sometimes. I love this game, but bruh. Alright, here we just... Thank God we have fast forward ability. Bye, Lava Cookie Girl. Oh my God, this was so much faster than I expected. I don't know why I thought that would take so long. Bruh. 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 Bruh, 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 bruh. Sorry, I took some drugs before starting streaming today. Okay. I don't know why it's so hot in my room, and it's actually driving me crazy. I don't know if it's because I'm hot. I don't... Oh, I know why. I have to put the fan higher. I just super soon because the wingsuit. It's kind of racist, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. We accept all people here. Even racists. Even racists. I mean, you guys are watching. Whoa! He picked up a Never Melt Ice. Oh no, I gave it to him. Why am I so dumb? Oh, okay, we're gonna buy stuff before I freaking forget, okay? I still can't believe we lost Raichu to some random guy. It's like, in the beginning of the stream. It's just on my mind so much. It makes me so sad. Okay. We have revives now? Turkey hat. I think there's an ad in progress right now. Ugh. Turkey hat. Walking down the hall, scratch my balls. Got caught in the elevator door. My teacher's screaming, then my turn green. What are you talking about, bro? Raichu deserves death. You know what, Diego? I'm so close to banning you for saying that. I deserve a place on that team. Not with that attitude, bro. I'm sorry. That was that was a bit too far. Bro, we have access to revives now, though. I'm such an idiot. I was about to buy revives. I was about to buy revives. Oh my God. Can you read it again? I had an ad. No, you didn't. Then you wouldn't know that I read it. You know how I know you didn't have an ad, actually? Because it tells me when the ads came. And the ad ended, and that's when I read it on purpose. I'm a nice person. You just want me to say it again. Walking down the halls, scratch my balls. Got caught in the elevator door. My teacher screaming, then my turn green. Anyway. Buy revives for the memes? No, I'm trying to keep the money, bro. I'm not good enough to do that. Ban me too, because Diego's speaking it gave me an ad, it gave me two, and I hate it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bro, I don't even like ads, okay? I don't like watching them, but I didn't have to watch it, so it's okay. But I don't like giving you guys ads either, to be completely honest. Excuse me. And the reasoning behind that? Are you serious? Was I... Oh, see... Oh, so many cooler Pokemon here. Wow. The reasoning behind why I don't like ads? Oh my God, that guy's gonna explode. Don't explode! Oh my God. The reason why I don't like ads is because it doesn't make me much money, and you guys have to watch it, and it takes you out of the zone of, like, seeing how amazing I am at video games. Yeah. Ads, more like, good morning, Nathan. No. Wow, indeed. What the heck? Right on this Sorry. I don't think there's anything on top, but for some reason I'm doing this as if there's something. Oh my God. Guys, is there anything on top? Can someone confirm for me? Add ads on breaks. Oh, that's what I do. When I go to PP, I always put ads, because then it makes the most sense. But now Twitch changed it up, and it's really annoying. Bro, can I, like, do something? It's 10 for me. I barely woke up. Damn. You woke up just to watch... Oh my god! Like, can I do this? You woke up just to watch me be amazing at video games, right? Please donate money. Listen, I'm not complaining. They have to make money somehow. It's just... It's an annoying way. It, like, intrudes, you know? Like, YouTube doesn't do that. Wait, does YouTube do that? I actually don't know if YouTube puts ads midstream. Bro, I'm actually trash. In life and in video games. Imagine this is the right way. Oh my god, can you, like... It's not the right way. Bro, what am I gonna do when I have to do this the real time? You should really drink more so there are more ad breaks. Yeah, well, yeah, make me drink, bro. Make me drink. I'm eating delicious... Oh, I want to eat delicious cookies with milk. It's not the only thing I want to eat. What? What are you talking about, Ping Pong? Did you not have enough power there? Oh my god. Bruh. And I got it once. Bro, I'm gonna drive myself crazy here. Let's go. Jesus. I'm not doing this one. We're going through with Rock Smash. Ooh, we got a fossil? Guys, we can actually add someone to our team. Hey, welcome back. Just a test. Hey, Hydrate, thank you. My lesbian neighbor misheard me when I said I want to whack for my birthday. You want to watch for your birthday? What'd she think you said? Such a random thing. Okay, Claw Fossil. Claw Fossil versus Root Fossil. I don't remember the Pokemon. I remember the Pokemon, actually. I just don't remember... Oh, we don't want no Anorith. Yeah, we don't want no Anorith. Anorith sucks. Bruh, no Anorith. Repeat after me. No Anorith. No Anorith. I'm gonna make that into a song. Oh no, we want Anorith. We don't want the Laleep. We want the Claw. Never mind. No Root Fossil. No Root Fossil. Repeat after me. No Root Fossil. They suck, okay? That was painful to read. I hydrated, doctor. I literally just hydrated. She gave me a Rolex, but I want to watch them. You want to watch your neighbor? Is that what you're trying to say? Alright, let's get the Claw Fossil, baby. Everything just crumbled. Catch it! Oh, you could have caught it! You could have caught it. My guy's so dumb sometimes. It is what it is. Alright, now do we use Amaranth? Do we use We didn't nickname it! Oh no, we couldn't nickname it, right? Wait, it's just a fossil now, right? Don't we have to go somewhere to actually, like, reborn it or whatever? Yeah, it's just a fossil. Here's a third, thanks. There was a two of them. Oh. My bad. I missed it, I guess. I also spied my neighbor. Oh, that sounds hot. I mean, what? Joking? Stop lying. You're eating cookies, drinking milk, and looking at your neighbor. You weirdo. I mean, listen. Do what you want to do in your life. Meow. I want surf. Alright, we're gonna go versus our daddy boy. Oh, I want fly. I want to surf. I want to fly and surf, baby. But what does the game say? Oh my god, am I a pro? Am I a pro? You asshole! He just ruined my world record attempt. Your technique is remarkable. Yes. Goodbye. Are you just saying that or saying goodbye? Did you go to sleep now? You just woke up. Good night, Nathan. Good night. Look at my ball. What do you think? I'm stupid? I am, but I know that one. Do you take it to the guy in Falibor Town? Don't tell me I have to go to Falibor Town. I just left that area. Is that true? Where to get to go fossil Pokemon? Restored, excuse me. Emeralds. You might be right. No, Rustboro. Let's go, Rustboro, baby. Let's go. Won't the Pokemon from the fossil be randomized? No, I think static Pokemon are not randomized. Unless it might be. You might be right. I don't know. So we're gonna go to Rustboro. Am I going the right way? We go to Dewford. And then we go to Petersburg Town. This guy just chases his bird all day. Jesus. One of the Pokemon from the fossil bear. In Minecraft, like, going to add the goblin mob. Are they actually adding a goblin mob in Minecraft? That sounds interesting. Let's go get our fossil baby. But I thought I had no room in my bag, so I wonder how that works. Oh, it's a different set of rooms. Tools or whatever. Oh my god, Nidoran. Oh, Nidoran looking kind of thick. Thank you. Thank you. Goblin these... Bruh. You did get me with that one. I'm not gonna lie, though. You did get me with that one. Alright. That's not what I want to do. They said in Rustboro. I'm gonna assume here because scientists are here. Thank you. Thank you. That's another thing. For some reason, sound alerts play twice now. Oh my god, I gotta fix that. I have so much to fix. Alright, let's see if there's anything in this garbage can. Nothing. You always gotta check garbage cans. Yo, what's up, bro? Do none of you help me? Oh my god. Can someone make me something? Ooh, yes! 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 What are we getting, baby? What are we getting? What are we getting? Oh. We have to go for a stroll. Oh my god, just go in once. Jesus Christ. Are you done? Yes. What are we getting? What are we getting? Hitmonchan! Let's go! What are we naming him? Yo, what's... Oh, we already have a fighting Pokemon, though. But that's a good one. I did have instant regret there. I'm not gonna lie, I did. What are we naming him? They're apparently removing Hash from the next Pokemon games. Hash? What's Hash? Jash? What's Jash? Jashing these balls in your... Sound effects don't pop up on screen? Oh no, I did that intentionally. Because then I would see it pop up. It's nicer as a surprise. Name it Jackie. Name it Big Balls. I'm not naming it Big Balls. It has to be family. We're supposed to be family oriented. We'll just go. It's my birthday. Not yet. All right, Angel. Give me a better name. It is Angel's birthday tomorrow, Diego. So I'll have to give this one to Angel. The next one I'll give to you, Diego, if you're here and if I remember. I think we named someone after you actually. Sugma. It's your birthday tomorrow. Okay. Such a child, bro. Just shut up. Sagandis. Yes, I know. I'm too nice to you guys. I'm like the nicest streamer ever, alright? I'm the nicest streamer you've ever met. I hope you've never met another streamer. Alright, we're gonna go to Daddy Boy right now. Wait, do we want Hitmonchan? Nope, he's a fighting. We have a fighting. Sorry. Sun will always be with us. Even though he almost died several times. We're in Peto Woods right now. We're back home where Daddy never talks to Mommy. Just stays in his gym all day. We gotta change our Pokemon. Dude, this chocolate chip cookie's right out of bake. Oh, I get it, bro. You're eating mad good food, okay? Well, you don't need to torture me. But I'm sure it's fun. Alright, this is our team. I mean, you could see it below, but I can't, so I'm gonna look at the team. We got Daddy. Look at these levels. Kind of scary. I don't know what to think, really. Norman Pokemon levels. Norman, let's see what levels he has. In Emerald, he has... His highest guy is level 31. A little scary, but not too scary. Not too shabby. I think we'll be okay. I love Daddy Ping Pong. I love me too. Have friends who are streamers so I can confirm what you said. That I'm the best streamer? Aw, that's so sweet. You know, I try. I try. I don't try too hard, but I try. Alright, let's verse him. I'm very tempted to use, like, someone else finally, but I don't trust anyone. So we're gonna go with Sun. Goodbye. See you next time. Diego, why are you going? He's like, I finished my food. I don't care anymore. Is that why you're going? Let's go, Aqua. Or because I didn't name them Diego. Alright, see you, Angel. Happy early birthday. Happy birthday to you. That's all I'm gonna sing from it. You know what? No. Nah, yeah, that's all I'm gonna sing from it. Because technically it's not your birthday yet, so. I'm leaving because I'm not in the team. Bro, you are on the team. Look. You're God. I didn't want to say this, Diego, but you're pretty much God. I named God after you. I didn't want to hurt other people's feelings, but that's the truth. And only the truth. We're so high level that none of this matters. What's up, girl? Girls' rights. I mean, women's rights. Oh! That's a sexy Pokemon. Oh my god, scary face. That's scary. Bye-bye. 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 Oh, no, we're not ready for you. I love how he has this dojo. It's so cool. Add a hello sound effect, redeemable. Yes. Yes, I shall. Hello. You know what? Yeah, it takes a thing to set it up. So, hello sound effect redeemable. That's a great idea. Thank you. I will add that. Good idea. I told my friend Dragon these balls in your bro. You gotta get me with better ones. Come on. I'm not a loser anymore. I'm not as much of a loser. I'm a little better now, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, he had Rock Tomb and he missed. Jesus, how lucky was that? That Pokemon is actually... That Pokemon demolishes us. We're gonna go heal. Get ready to be swept. I know, right? I'm actually kind of scared. And you know what it is? Do you think we're gonna lose? Do you guys actually... I'm not trying to get you, but I got my friend, though. I mean, you already got me today, so...
Pikachu!
Pikachu? Really? You had a berry, bro? What a loser. Now you're dead. Come on, come on, come on, my butt. We'll fake you out, bro. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on, Clefairy. By the time you figure it out, you're dead. I hope not. I hope not, too. I'm scared. Going to sleep, doctor? Love you, bro. Good night, bro. Have an amazing sleep. And I hope Jesus is with you. And I really want to... Send me some scenes from the... 27 rooms is insane. Or 28, you said? Send me the next... Actually, no. When you want, send me some stuff from your map. I want to see more of it. Are trainers Pokemon randomized? Because it should be fine then. They are randomized, but that's what could be scary. I know he has a Slaking, and Slaking is kind of tough. To be honest... Okay, I gotta fix that. I don't know why it doubles. To be honest, there's I know why it doubles now. I'm an idiot. I'm actually an idiot. Well, actually, no, I'm not sure why it doubles. Anyway, Sun Hariyama Sun would be perfect against this gym, because it's a normal gym. So I actually would prefer the normal Pokemon. To randomize. Randomize could be very scary. I really don't want to reset. How many Pokemon did we lose? Did we lose one Pokemon or two? Was I supposed to press the death counter and I forgot, guys? Or are we at 2 now? I don't remember. We lost Raichu and we lost Ponyta. And that's all we lost, yeah? Well, hopefully. I think that's all the that's all the trainers? Oh, it's not all the trainers. I'm stupid. I got prepared for nothing. Lurking. Oh my god. Can you be any more annoying? Not you, Angel. If you're lurking, bro, and I don't see you later, I hope you have an amazing birthday. Double slackings are a pain. Yeah, I also don't want to see a reset. I don't want either. Oh my god. I really don't want to reset. It gets scary around here. We're gonna heal just because I'm a puss. I'm a wussy. Okay, mwah. It takes so long with experience share though. I thought they would be leveling up much quicker. They're only level 16s. I don't know how we're gonna level them up. And they're taking XP away from our other guys, but I mean that's inevitable, I guess. Did we verse you already? Oh, we did. Oh, I think we're ready. I think we versed everyone. Did we verse everyone? Yo, I'm like so dumb. Okay, we did verse everyone. If I lose if everyone dies on my party, we have to reset. I have to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if our dad is gonna make us restart every single thing. I believe in Dad. I believe in him. Oh, I already started talking to him. We can't go back. What are you gonna have? Charizard? Okay, let's be smart. This Charizard, I don't think can have a flying move, because wing attack is like at level 30 something, or 34 or whatever. I don't think he has wing attack, so I think Sun could be fine here. He definitely probably has no psychic moves. And then the last thing I would be worried about is, what beats fighting? Dark. I don't think he has a dark move. I think we should be okay. It's a dragon. It's not even a dragon, though. Let's fake out, see how much that does. We could change into Daddy. Let's see if Daddy has anything. We could change into Daddy. Hey, Chris. You want to do Nuzlocke. But yeah. I can't focus the chicken. The chicken's no chicken! We well focus. Alright. Let's try Vital Throw. Oh, he used Smoke Screen. He withdrew! Interesting. And he changed into Venomoth. The good thing about him changing into... Oh, Venomoth is we have Daddy. Poison Powder! Ew! You disgusting Pokemon. We're just gonna kill that. Celebi? Celebi shouldn't have any rock or water moves, right? What would beat Charizard? Water, rock and ground, and electric? I don't think Celebi would have any of that. We should be okay here. Dragon on these nuts. How you let that pass, bro? I don't know, because a lot of people think Charizard should be a dragon. That's why. So I didn't even think about it. Slaking are given retaliate, so Shedinja doesn't work against normal Norman. Oh, I see. Ancient powder? Oh. Better put her back on later. I will. Oh, you were right, Ancient Power! Oh my god! I thought you meant Ancient Power from Slaking would hit Shedinja. Oh my god, thank god he survived. Why is there a freaking Celebi, bro? He could have a Psychic move, right? Okay, we're gonna Vital Throw. Oh, he has Safeguard. Okay. Not too good. We're gonna heal up just for the next Pokemon. Jesus! I should have taught him Overheat too. I'm such an idiot. I need Hyper Potions already. Oh, he doesn't have any other move. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh. Whew. I meant that's what Celebi has. Yeah, I get it now. He's gonna heal. Oh, come on. Recover? Oh, it's gonna be an annoying one. Oh my god. This is actually gonna be very annoying. I don't remember what this button does. What this move does. Huh. How many types Why does Gym Leader have a Celebi? It's randomized, so every Pokemon is random. For a Psychic Grass type, Celebi doesn't seem to have Psychic. It's probably too low of a level to have it, that's why. I was scared of it having that move. We would have been decimated. Oh, it has no Ancient Powers left. Ancient Power is only 5, that's why it's not using Ancient Power. Watch, it's gonna recover now, or use Safeguard. Yeah, it has no moves. Haha! It has no moves. Okay, this is good. This is good. That means we could actually take out God. And, like, use Cut or something. Or, what else can we use? We could even take out Daddy here. Yeah. We could let it run out of recoveries. Okay, how many recoveries are there? Jesus. Oh, wing attack does enough. I guess I'm not gonna clip the Celebi because I'm on mobile. Aw. Struggle? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think about that Struggle... Wait, Struggle can't kill because it's a normal. Wait, would Struggle attack Shedinja actually? I don't know. Oh, come on, that's all the XP? Huntail? Oh, Huntail sucks! Oh, we got so lucky. We versed Huntail and it dies to Grass and Electric. It dies to Electric, bro. Why does this game have to keep reminding us? We just lost him. Okay. It's not normal, it's typeless. So what did it hit then? Meow. Huntail. What to use against a Huntail? Huntail. What moves would Huntail have? Huntail's a water type. It's probably best to change out just in case. He probably would have like a water gun or something. Let's go with Sun. Level 31, that's his highest level guy. Hopefully he doesn't have a crazy attack. Scary face? Okay. He has a Citrus Berry? He has Water Pulse? Not another Water Pulse guy. Oh, thank God. Okay. Charizard? Oh, from before. Let's go Charizard against Charizard. Hopefully he has no rock moves. Okay, I think we beat this. Oh, we beat it. Yeah, we don't need God. It's okay. It worked out. Do you prefer Huntail or Gorbis? Gorbis? I don't remember who Gorbis is. Gorbis? What is Gorbis? Oh, Gorbis, yeah. They're both weird-looking Pokemon, though. But Gorbis. Huntail looks like an eel that just wants to kill you, and that's it. I think Steel Wing would do best here, and I missed. He's gonna heal up here now. Wing Attack did a lot more than I expected. Oh, I thought it would be not very effective, but it's normal. Let's go, Aqua. Get out of here, Dad. You're nothing. You lost the ping. Of course you lost the ping. You suck, Dad. You suck. Look at... You suck. Dad, you suck. Okay? You are the epitome. Oh, that's not a good point of view. Never mind. Rules are rules. Look up pubes. Why would I look that up? There are the alternative evolutions. Ah. Oh, Daddy. Let's go, Daddy. We beat Daddy with Daddy. I'm so stupid. Bruh. I love all these buttons that I have. I feel like such a cool guy. I'm not even lying. I feel like a cool guy. Is that weird, guys? Is that weird? I'm just proud of myself. We beat Daddy, just like the description, just like the title says. Now, surf. We can use surf. Facade. Facade could actually be pretty good. Oh, he gives me surf, right? I like you, bro. You're better than his uncle. Let's go. He gave us surf. The head shake? What? BRB? Alright, cool. Damn. We got a lot done. Even though we lost a guy and almost lost another one. Whew. This game is freaking brutal. Excuse me. Our guys are leveling up, but way too slowly. Okay, so here... Who do we teach surf to? This is actually a very hard decision. I would prefer having search on one of our main guys, because it's a very powerful attack, 95, and because it's surf. But surf is a special attack, and only Sun can learn it, and Sun is a physical attacker. God damn it, bro. Come on, game. Should I still teach it to him? What do you guys think? Let's actually look at his stats. Yeah, his special attack sucks. We could teach it to man. Ammonite might actually be useful. Let me look up. Ammonite. Emerald. I kind of just disregarded him completely, but looks like him. So Ammonite gets owned by grass, fighting, and ground. We would have too many guys that get owned by ground. He has a lot of defense and a lot of special attack. So surf would actually be useful on him. If he could even learn it. We don't even know if he could learn it yet. He evolves into Amistar at level 40. Amistar's defense is insanely high. And its special attack is pretty good. A lot kills it. It's a lot water-based. He can learn surf according to this thing I'm looking... Oh, no, wait. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Can he gets Hydro Pump at level 65. He can't learn surf? Where is this? Oh, he can learn surf, dive, waterfall, toxic, water pulse, ice beam. Okay. He's actually a beast guy. The only problem is all his weaknesses. So I have this thing here, which you guys don't see because I'm stupid and I didn't put it. But I can look at the types, advantages, and stuff. The question is, who do we replace for him? Who do we replace? If we replace... Mouse, for example. Ugh, we don't have Sand, Raichu anymore. Sand... Yeah, if we replace Sand Slash with Ammonite... Amistar, I mean... Let's see what it does. Yeah, I think that might work out. What do you guys think? You're back? Welcome back. Mouse? You think get rid of Mouse? I'm thinking of getting rid of Mouse. We're gonna put Man in place of Mouse. Thankfully, he's a higher level too, which could be useful. And we could actually use him. Mouse is not bad. I don't remember if I gave him Dig or not. Yeah, I did give him Dig. Yes? Yeah. We actually have a water type, which is actually nice. We could take out fire types. I actually think he's a good Pokemon when he evolves. Right now, he's kind of poo-poo. So I think he's worth training. let's first teach him surf. Let's go, man. Ah! What did I just replace? Oh, constrict. Oh, that's fine. I did that by accident. And we could teach overheat to our boy Charizard, which, you know what? I am going to do. Because it's a special attack and it has a lot of damage. It could just one-shot certain guys that are very scary to verse. Question is, what do we take out? That's a very hard question to answer. Steel Wing has 90 accuracy, but I feel like it misses so much. I kind of want to take out Smokescreen, but Smokescreen is helpful. We might just leave it for now, actually. Yeah, we're just gonna... Bruh. Huh? What did I just replace? Steel Wing? I pressed that by accident. Whatever. We don't need Steel Wing. And misses a lot. But having a Steel type move was very useful. Jesus, I gotta stop speeding up. I'm so stupid. Okay, now that we have Surf, the game is changed, baby. Everything. You know why? Because I changed my A and B button, and now I'm just getting confused with myself. All right. Now that we could surf, we have access to a lot. We could go to Mauville. We could go right of Mauville and explore this whole area. Go through to Fortray and stuff. We could go down to... we don't actually need to do any of this. Let's see if we caught everything on these routes. We have a Route 9. Route 0... We didn't catch anything on Route 08, so we could go to Route 08 and catch something. Route 06, Route 04, 5, 6. We haven't caught anything on Route 5. So we're going to go right here and catch something. We're going to do that right now, actually. First time going out on sea. I love this music. Alright. Who do we put out in front? I'll just keep it like this. It's all randomized. Teddy Ursa. Kind of high levels, actually. What will our random Pokemon be? What are we getting? A Delibird? I don't know what to think of that. I honestly don't know. I don't know what to think of that. Doesn't he have, like, no moves, basically? Let's see. He has... I'll tell you guys right now. Yeah, he literally learns no moves. He could learn Fly. He could learn some, like, HMs. I don't even think it's worth catching him. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna fake him out. He didn't even survive yet. Well, that's it. That's it for you. And I think we're already in Route 105, so I didn't screw that up, right? Let's see. Yep, that was Route 105. We don't need to keep going, but I'm just going to keep going. Oh, wow, an actual a Pokemon you would find here. We're just going to keep going to get some more XP and stuff. Just Rock Tomb him. Let's go. Let's verse this guy. Okay, he's dead. Did that say Gyarados? Oh, it said Oddish. Love how I confused the Gyarados with an Oddish. Huh. Come? Where do you want me to come? Alright. I remember there's some item. Oh, there are no items. I thought there was an item here. The heck? The sea is so... Jirachi. The sea is so interesting in this game, guys. Jirachi has grass moves, if I remember. Might have a psychic move or two. It had psychic! Oh my god. Oh, I shouldn't have taken that risk. That was dumb. Level 37, bro. Oh. Hey, Johnny! Very long time no see. How are you, man? I love how you bring the Kappa. Kappa. How you doing, bro? How you doing? How's life? Another Delibird? Yeah, we're in a... Oh, is this where you could catch another god Umbreon? That would be amazing. Another Regirock or whatever. How's school been going? You're great? I've been good. I'm basically concentrating on Pokemon and sometimes community games. That's my whole shtick right now. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Some new peeps since I haven't seen you in a while. And yeah, I don't know what else to say, to be honest. Life is pretty good. Life is pretty decent. This is actually scary. I don't know who it... Oh, he flinched. This is a little scary because they could both do work on us. Really? You missed? Okay, he only has that one move. Let's go! Wait, what else? Flamethrower. Oh my god, we just demolished them. I've just been moving house and dealing with school. Last day of school for the next 2 weeks and last day in the house I'm in right now. Damn! I thought you moved in kind of recently to that place, no? Alright, see you, Angel. Thanks for popping in, bro. Yeah, the sea... What the hell? That's so much damage? Was that a level 34? Did I read that correctly? It was probably level 24. Alright. The sea is not as exciting. It's just exploring, you know? It's so sad. So many of our boys could have been here with us. Well, 2 that died. Too many of you, bro. Too many. Oh my god. Please be Ice Beam or something. Please. A Pearl. Okay, well. I guess that's something. I did, but something happened where the owner had to sell this house or something. That's very unlucky. Last day of school for the next 2 weeks. So what are you going to plan on doing then? Wait, this is Route 106. Oh, we caught Pokemon on this route. Did she really just miss us? Ultra Ball! Charizard. You loser Charizard. Damn, I need more pee-pee. Are you serious? Did you just burn me? I should have Rock Tomb from the beginning. What was I thinking? Oh my god. Apparently I'm not thinking. What is this? Oh, we're back. Oh, that was cool. That was kind of fast. That was cool. I don't like too much going on the sea in this game. I kind of like it. But, yeah, there's something about it that's like, you know? Let's see. Let's go this way. We could probably just... That looked like such a powerful attack. What was the next Pokemon? Venonat. I didn't read it. Poison Powder. Bruh. Why you do this? Why you do this? Why you do... Machupu? They want us to die from poison. Oh my god, how'd you miss us, bro? How... Bruh. There you go. Bruh, how is a Ponyta in the water? Can someone explain that to me? This game makes no sense sometimes. I think we could just... Rock Tomb misses more than it should. For starters, I'm gonna be sleeping like a sloth. Second, I'm gonna be trying to be in your streams tomorrow. Aw, that's sweet. And lastly, just relaxing and setting up stuff in the new house. Nice. Do you like Pokemon? Or you don't really care about Pokemon? Okay, okay. We had a guy who could have taken care of this team, but, you know, it's fine. Fake Out is actually so useful. It's, like, super useful. Ugh. He had a poison body affected both of them? Ew. That is annoying. We gotta buy more antidotes. Someone remind me, please, later, maybe? Once we're next to the gym. Alright, I think route... let's use Fake Out here. And we're we're good. What was the next Pokemon? Magby. Just Rock Tomb you. That's why we have Rock Tomb for a baby. Was it Jigglypuff? Ditto! Haven't seen a Ditto in a while. Actually, at all. Okay. Hey, you're back. Oh, or maybe you're just lurking. You're gonna remind me? Thank you. Ditto, oh my god. Even though I don't know much about Pokemon, I love watching people play it. Oh, that's cool. I'm fast forwarding a lot though. A lot-ish. I'm battling all this guy for the XP. All these guys. I literally need the XP. Not on these guys, but no, I'm attacking the wrong guy. We're gonna fake out Slow Wing so we could wing attack him and take him out. He's the scariest guy. Oh my god, how many times are you gonna hit me with... 5 times? That's the most you could hit me with. Oh, wing attack went first. That's kind of annoying. There we go. Boom, let's go, baby. I was going for clean and I agree, so slow. Points are slow. I just need 700 PPP for 10k again. There's the extreme stretch. I don't know if I could go to face the way I have it set up this time. I changed up my setup, but ow. Put here. All right. I hope this satisfies your desires. I hope that was worth it. I just like broke everything. Oh, anyway, nice shirt. Oh, thank you. Avatar. I think my sister got it for me. You're at 1.6? That's not bad. 1.6 points is not bad. Oh, Route 108. We've never been in this route. We could get another Pokemon here, boys. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Jolteon. Why do they have to keep reminding us of Pokemon we can't get? Alright. What do you guys think we're gonna get? What are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? Ooh, yes! Look at that sprite, though. Let's go! A Haunter? This stretch. Rip? Thanks for the stretch, Chris. My job has started. Shall redeem extreme stretch like the good old days. True. Okay, I don't want to kill this, but I don't want to die. He probably doesn't have any move to kill Charizard, so we should be good taking him out. Yeah, I know. He could kill our guy. Oh, I can't evolve him because I can't trade. Unless I could evolve with some random guy. I guess you kind of missed a bit of stuff. I don't know. You haven't been here in a while. What did we do that was cool? We did a crazy horror stream that scared the hell out of me. Started this Nuzlocke. Been playing Pokemon a lot more. I don't think you missed anything too crazy. Some YouTube videos. I've been on the YouTube. I was on the YouTube grinds, and now I'm going back to streaming on YouTube. I took a bit of a break from streaming actually. So let me see Hunter's stats. Let's see how good he is. And I have to fix this. Let me add it right now. This is annoying. Let me just add this. You guys will see what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna add browser. Okay. I should have done this before during the stream. I just don't like taking attention away to fix issues that I made. But wait. Where is the browser button? What I'm basically doing now is I'm adding a button, so I could press a button and it makes everything cool. Let's see if it works. The moment of truth. It's working, but it's not attached to anything. The moment... Oh, there we go. Let's go! I'm a genius. Yeah, so it says Hunter... Ooh, Hunter actually has really good special attack. And its speed is really good. Unfortunately, we can't get Gengar. It dies to Psychic, Ghost, and Dark. So it would be a good addition to the team. We'll catch him. I don't know if we'll use him, but we'll catch him for sure. We'll try to at least. I did add some cool things yesterday, which is like this. Like, look at my Charizard. And I could be like, look at his moves. And then I could, well, you don't see his moves. You don't, like this. Look at his moves. And then I could be like, look at this enemy. Then I could be like, my HP, no. And then I could be like, ha, his HP, ha ha. You know, so that's kind of cool. Anyway. I added all this stuff. There's some issues with it that I have to fix, unfortunately, but I didn't know I would be running into that. Maybe you should bring up your previous restart save to trade Hunter to it and back. I don't know. Nah, I think it would be cheating if I would be able to trade. Even though I would love to. I don't remember if Curse affects me every turn or not. Oh, that's his only move, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like that's his only move. I think I'm safe taking out Sun. But we'll take out Aqua just in case. What the hell? No, he's gonna... Ah! Right, that's his only move. He would just use Curse. My god, I'm such an idiot sometimes. I'm such an idiot. Well, we don't have a Haunter. It's fine. I didn't want him. Kinda didn't want him, to be honest. It's Route 108 gone, though.
Hi, I'm new.
Oh, yeah, we do have some new rewards, I guess. I think we could just Vital Throw here. But, yeah. And that's it. This is where the secret ship is. But I don't think we could catch him right now. I don't think there's anything here right now. Oh, there's trainers here. I should have gotten more super potions. I didn't realize I would be going into like this whole thing right here. Kappa. What do you mean? We got like one new reward, don't we? Please don't be high levels. Huh. Not high levels, but Jesus, those Pokemon are a bit scary. We're gonna fake out this guy, and we're gonna Flamethrower. Altera could be scary. Oh, but they missed. I guess that was the point also, so... Oh, I should have Rock Tombed him. I could Rock Tomb him, and... Wing Attack? Moltres? I was scared of this Quilava. And a Sandshrew, okay. Jesus. Oh, thank God. Thank God. By the way, I recommended Pokemon Insurgent, so I'd like to mention the option to do a challenge run is built into the game. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I'll look into it. I definitely want to play like a lot of Nuzlockes. I'm really excited. But it's obviously going to take time. So I don't know when I'll play that one, but I'll definitely get around to it. Oh, that could have been very scary. Running out of PP, though. Well, it figures I'm only using 2 guys. Would you fall through this hole? Can you... No, you can't. I think you could sleep somewhere here on the ship, if I remember correctly. There should be an area to let you sleep. Yo, let's go. Red Flute. I don't care about no Red Flute. Tons of different challenge types. Oh, really? Oh, you're making me excited now. Well, let me first play this game, though. Oh, this guy doesn't even attack you? I think that guy attacks you. One of these is a... You could actually sleep. I think it's the one next door. We'll risk this. And he doesn't even risk. Is this throw up? How's it empty? He was throwing up. Oh, God. Deoxys? Ah! I didn't think! Oh, but he's dead. It's so good we were 10 levels above. Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen can actually kill our other guys, so we have to actually... I'm gonna heal up just in case. I'm gonna heal up. Okay, he had... Okay, I didn't need to heal up. And now we're poisoned. Or are you serious? Maybe I did need to heal up. Huh. I want to actually use someone else for once. Come on, daughter. Your daughter. Come on, daughter. Let's go, daughter. Your first kill. How does it feel to kill other Pokemon? I just realized I had that face on the whole time. And not the normal one. Okay, this one should be where I sleep. Let's go. No? We could fish here, and that counts as a new area. Right, guys? There has to be an area to sleep. I don't have any antidotes left either. Nugget. Oh, come on. We're always full, bro. Mental herb. Yeah, let's give a mental herb to someone. Oh, I forgot to use man. I want to sell my nuggets. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's here? Blue flutes. I don't need the blue flutes. The blue flutes. There's a place to sleep for sure. You said he stays at 1 health, right? I'm just gonna make sure. Sorry, I don't want him to die. Poison, 1 health, emerald. You know what? I'm just gonna take your word for it. I really hope. I love what you named the Pokemons. Oh, you guys named the Pokemons. I mean, I named some of them, but I don't believe there are special Pokemon here. Like in Pokemon ORS. Oh, okay. From my experience. I mean, but it's random, right? Please do check, yeah. I love what you named the Oh. I couldn't really find it online. We're gonna leave the stupid flute there. We should be okay for... Stop moving. Yay, it's a ship. Would you guys count this as a new area? Oh, we could dive here. We don't have dive yet, but... We could fish for a Pokemon there. I don't know if that counts, so I'm just not gonna do it. Oh, come on, bro. Oh, did we already go through the whole abandoned thing? No way. Let me... Oh, come on. No. No, we might actually lose someone here. Oh, no. 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 What do we do? Wait, stop. Don't move more. Oh, it's too late. Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't realize it would be ambushed. Bro, who do we use here? I think Aqua's fine, actually. I shouldn't overreact. Aqua should be fine here. They're the same level. They shouldn't be able to sweep Aqua. Just no water. Oh, he has Rage. Okay, okay. Mega Drain. That shouldn't do much. Okay, we're looking good. We're looking okay. We're looking okay. Oh, okay. Jesus, that could have been so much worse. Why would you freaking wait? Ambush people. Jesus Christ. Oh. Oh, he's building his Rage. Is it gonna go up now? Oh. PS Pursuit? I forgot he could have Pursuit. Oh my god. They're not attacking Aqua. Are they smart? Oh, but I can't attack with... Oh. That actually worked out perfectly. That actually worked out perfectly. Because now counter will be... What? Counter failed? Oh, because he died? Yeah, I don't know why I took out Aqua. I just took him out because of his defensive capabilities. You guys are assholes. Jesus, you little kid. To protect Shoal Salt? What is Shoal Salt? And why is my bag full? Shoal Salt. Let's look it up. is a type of item. It can be used to make shell bells. Shell bell is good from what I remember. And you just sell shell bells? What is this? Okay, I don't care anymore. I can't quite tell from what I see. Oh, if he dies? Yeah, I couldn't really tell either. He has 44 health, so... I don't have any antidotes, though. I think I have, like, one potion. I so feel like there's a place to... There's a place to heal somewhere. I just don't remember where. We're gonna heal him up anyway. We don't have any Ooh! A berry might work here. One of the berries might work. Heals poisoning. Let's go, baby! I'm a genius. Oh, I'm a genius. Just heal them when they get low? It's okay, I'm a genius. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, I have 8 of them. I didn't even realize. Oh, this area is big, but it's a lot of training, which is nice. Fighting. Who do we want to kill first here? Sometimes I'm dumb. He just looked more scary to me, and he used agility, so that was... Oh, I only have 1 rock tomb left. I need more moves. Okay, that was good. Yo, what's up, girl? What's up, baby cheeks? Oh my god. Oh, Relicanth is a really cool Pokemon. Oh! I'm an idiot! Jesus. Oh my god. And I'm running out of... Oh my god, I'm so dumb sometimes. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. Yeah. You guys had an ad, but I almost lost Charizard. There was a Relicanth, and I completely forgot. And he used Rock Tomb, and Charizard went down to yellow health. Which is quite scary. Okay, so it looks like this is the only way. That way. This is the way. Okay, so we've been doing everything correctly here. The hell? Storage key. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, now we could access the storage key. Which has a TM, I'm assuming? It's randomized, unfortunately, though. The ad was that long? Oh, Jesus. Thanks for letting me know, by the way. You didn't get an ad? Oh, that's weird. Bro, Twitch is mad weird. They tell me also that an ad just passed and it was 30 seconds and it passed like 20 seconds ago. I was just saying I almost lost Charizard. But I didn't. That's all I was saying. Wait, what the hell? How did I miss... Oh, that was the blue flute. I was like, how did I miss that? Alright, now we have the storage. Oh, I inserted it. Let's go. What's gonna be in here? Toxic! That's very useful. That's actually a very good move to get. Almost rip, yeah. 30-second ad, yeah. I thought it... Oh, maybe it was a delay? I don't know. We got a Charizard, though. I was about to save like it matters. I will save, though. Just in case something happens, you know? You never know. Save to file. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Almost rip, yeah. Almost. Thankfully, almost. I mean, not thankfully. You know what I mean. Okay, here, I'm tired of using these guys. I want to use different Pokemon. I'm just scared that they're going to die is all, you know? Aqua is a pretty high level, though, so I'm going to... Well, I can't do anything. I'm going to give Daughter an item. Just to have more space here. Heartstone. That kind of helps, actually. We're going to take his mental herb. Yo, you're mental. Why do you have a mental herb? We'll give him the mental herb. Take the experience share, and we'll give him the experience share. We need man to get some experience here. Double battle, wild battle, that means good XP, I think. Currently, I'm playing some Pokemon for context. Nice. Ooh, she's hot, and she was talking about her boyfriend or something. Macargo. Macargo is fire. Man, can you handle this? I don't know if man can handle this. I don't know why I'm believing in him. Let me look up Ammonite's weaknesses again. Ammonite weakness. There was a lot. I'm just going to write it down so I don't forget. Weak to ground. Too many Pokemon will have weak to ground. Oh, he could do a ground attack for sure. Grass, electric, and fighting. Weak to so much. But it is what it is. Let's see. Who do we use here? I'm tempted to go daughter. What beats daughter again? Water, fire, ground, fighting. I don't think he'll have a ground move. He had rock throw, yeah. We're fine here. Let's bind. Ah! He has Ember. No shit, he would have Ember. I'm using a steel. Why would I do this? That's so dumb. That was so dumb. Oh my god, okay. It doesn't look like he has a... He had rock through, I know that. I knew that. Why am I playing so dumb? Okay, it's okay. Okay, Macargo is actually my weakness. Alright, Sun should be okay. Sun's running out of freaking... I didn't want to use Sun. He was running out of like, moves. Jesus. Macar stop. Macar go. Man stop. Man go. It's kind of funny, actually. I'm not going to lie. Alright, let's see. Let's go with Super Potion. We're going to Super Potion Daughter. Jesus. It was interesting, though, to use that. Okay. You better be easy to take out. 6 Pokemon. That's disgusting. Thankfully, I have insanely high-level Pokemon. I only have one more Fake Out. Oh, God. That's it. Sun has no moves. A Poliwhirl, no. I do have Smelling Salt. Oh, let's go. That actually worked out well. Dragonite? Oh my god. What moves is Dragonite gonna have? Dragonite moves. Oh my god. I love this is the first time we saw Dragonite this thing. I freaking love Dragonite, but not going against Dragonite. Okay, he can have dragon moves, which don't... He could have Wing Attack, which could kill Sun. So he could have Dragon, Normal... Let's see if Shedinja could handle it. Oh no, because he could have Wing Attack. I can't take out Shedinja. He could even have Surf. If he has Surf, it's over. I actually don't know what to do here. Poggers? This is not Poggers. We could lose a Pokemon here. I can Overheat. I'm just going to Overheat here and change to Aqua. Weak to Bug, Dark, Ghost. I don't think Bug, Dark, Ghost. I think we'll be okay. Overheat will do a lot of damage, hopefully. Oh, Fire's not very effective on Dragon. I just remembered. God damn it. Oh, he has Thunder Wave. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is not looking bad. We'll just Wing Attack and counter. He has Feint Attack? Oh, he used it on Daddy though. Okay, we should be fine here. Yeah. Oh, that could have been so much scarier. That could have been so much worse. He has Hyper Potion. Okay, he's dead. Oh my god, how many guys do you have? I think we should be fine here. Yeah, we're fine. Oh god. The thing I love is it doesn't matter if Pokemon's 10 levels lower or not, they can completely demolish you. True. Yeah, it makes it more interesting. I like it too, to be honest. We just got a Master Ball? What? We just got a Master Ball. Oh my god. It's my last super potion. My guys are dying out here, and we do not have fly. Let's see how close we're. That's the scary part about going in the ocean. Okay, we're close to Slateport. There's. Is that close though? Is it worth just going back? We're gonna go back and heal. I think it's too scary. We're gonna go back and heal. Someone clip that, bro. That's the. Oh, another Haunter. They're taunting me. That's the last thing I was expecting. You know what I mean? Oh, this is closer than I remember it being. Jesus. A Master Ball, bro. Did we catch anything? No, right? I mean, we have Hitmonchan, which is Sugma, which is pretty cool, but... Our guys are actually improving in level. This is... We're getting a lot of XP in the water, which is good. It's good we didn't skip over this part, because we could have easily skipped this part, too. Oh my god, just... Wait, what? Are we already there? What the hell? Oh, it was like right there. Bro, what's with these water Pokemon? Jesus. Fake Out is so useful in double battles. Oh, Duskull. Oh no. They're kind of high levels. I don't know if I should be scared of a Duskull. Dark beats fighting, right? Maybe I should be scared. Dark doesn't beat... I have the thing here. Oh, he's a ghost. He's not dark, right? But they're basically against Psychic and Ghost. So he should be good, but if he has any dark moves, that wouldn't be good. So I'm gonna shift. Oh, that killed him in one shot. I did not expect that. You should stick the bug and fighting types with wing attack or whatever it is, and they appear. Guess the next legend will be yours. I know, right? If we ever run into a legend. Because remember, the legendaries aren't necessarily legends either. Alright, let's go. Daughter actually being useful now. Let's wing attack you and rock throw. Let's go. Oh, hell yeah. Things are feeling so good right now. Did we... Oh, this was... We actually saw this guy. Bruh. Are you serious? Bruh. You seem to have good legend luck. Do I? Well, going up against them, not catching them. Did we run into... You should also write down what types are special and what are physical if you don't remember. I wrote down some, yeah. I wrote down some. Sorry I missed that message, by the way. Oh, Banette. Sweet, sweet Banette. I think Flamethrower just demolishes Banette, yeah. Mudshot? You learned Mudshot? Oh my god, this is great. This is amazing. This is actually amazing. Wait, is Mudshot physical or... He has Bite? Yo, he has such great moves. We actually have a ground type move. See you, Johnny. Well, see you soon, I guess, since you said be right back. Yo, doesn't my face on screen look so sexy with the water in the background? It looks so cool to me. Oh, this is Route 109. Oh, we caught Pokemon in Route 109. We versed them. Let's see what this is. Ground is physical. It's always every ground move. Max Repel. Okay, that's not bad. Every ground move is physical, you're saying? In this game? Oh, was that what you're talking about in games? Imagine we caught an Execute. That would have been funny. We're just gonna Flamethrower you. I didn't see it. Yeah, we're just gonna Flamethrower you. Flamethrower is so sexy. Gardevoir? Yeah, we're just gonna Flamethrower you. Psyduck. Let me stop getting cocky. That's how you lose. Let's Vital Throw you. Huntail. I think Vital throwing you is fine. There we go. Why are you just on the middle of an island here? What the hell? Are they like having sex? Another Dragonite? Bro, I can't with these Dragonites. We're gonna wing attack and fake out. Hopefully he's... Okay, he's dead. Jesus. How do you have a Zigzagoon and a... That's like the weirdest Pokemon to have. Is that a legendary Jinx? That Jinx looks so weird. Flamethrower super effect. Level 40, baby. Our first level 40. Oh, come on. You giving me an Oddish? Come on, bro. Try harder. Oh, that is not what I meant to do. What's up, Whammon? Is she watching her daughter on an island? Imagine in real life, beaches were like this. Imagine you just go to the beach and you could just go to another land area, like island thing next to the beach like this. Wouldn't that be like crazy? Oh, I just remembered something amazing in this game. I don't know if you guys know. But to the right of this is like some crazy currents, if I remember correctly. I can't believe we made it all the way to Slateport. We gotta buy a bunch of stuff. So, oh, that was a trip, bro. That was a trip. Maybe you should travel here. Wait, travel where? Oh, I'm not selling my... What are we selling here? Yeah, we'll sell our shard. We'll sell our pearl. And we'll sell our 5,000 for the nugget. That's actually amazing. I'm happy I picked it up. Doesn't feel like there's much else to sell, which is kind of annoying. Can we buy hyper potions yet? Nope. Let's buy like 14 super potions and 5 antidotes. That seems good. It is based on a real place after all. Wait, it is? Oh, yeah. A lot of the places were based in Japan, like Kanto and the other one. I can't think of it right now. But the later ones were, yeah. I don't know what Hoenn is based on. I don't remember. I can't remember what the place is called. Yeah, I don't remember what Hoenn is based on. I know at one point we'll have to use this. I'm assuming not now, though. Yeah. Yeah, this is for later on in the game. We could use Surf here. Let's just look at the map here. This is Route 134. We could catch a new Pokemon here, technically. I don't think we have access to getting to Pacifid Log right now. I really love this area of the game. It's so cool to me. But I don't think we have access to it. Oh yeah, that was way too in depth. So I think we have to go to Fortress to get Fly and verse our rival now? Could be wrong. Going for Marvel right with our Surf. And it's really good we got the practice here, because now our guys are at high level. First 4 were based in Japan. Unova was New York State. Oh, really? I remember Cal's being France, yeah. And then Alola was obviously Hawaii, right? Unless I'm stupid. I love this game. I just remember how much I love this game and how much mid to late game in this game is so much better than like early game. It's just, this game is so fun. I don't know why. Move. Move! Except when that happened. Alola was Hawaii. Yeah. Oh! So I was right. But yeah, we could also go down here and do the electric thing, right? I think. House of France. Are we missing any other gens? How about Pokemon X and Y? Wait, was that Unova? How about Sinnoh region? Oh, that was 4th gen? 4th gen? Question mark? There he is. There's my boy. Yes. We're actually gonna go do this. Why not get more experience? Why not get it? This is Route 110, I believe, which we've already done. We could get a secret base here, which is pretty cool. I think this is where you verse what's his name also in the future, where you could get Mewtwo, or in our case, you know, right here in this cave. I think, maybe not in this cave, or somewhere else. I don't remember where. Chaos was X and Y. Oh, okay. Gen 8 was England and Scotland. Scotland, but flipped upside down. Oh, really? That's kind of cool. What do you think they'll make a new? Oh, this is a new area, new Pokemon. Wait, we're not catching this. We are not catching this. I don't need no Barboach. Okay, that's a waste of time. I don't know what it evolves into. Now, Hitmontop would have been interesting. Also, another Pokemon we don't need, but I want an Australia. Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? I don't even know where you're from. Australian. Are you from Australia? Australian region would be pretty cool. That would actually be really cool. Imagine Australia and New Zealand together. Why, you never told me where you're from. You're saying it like I'm supposed to know where you're from. Australia? Okay. Or that was obviously hinting that you're... Yo, it's so nice to... You know what I love about playing Nuzlocks? Or emulators? I could just fast forward everything. It's just so beautiful. Oh, there's a bunch of Voltorbs. Oh, they're not gonna... Wait, they're all static encounters here. Guys, they're all static encounters. Unless it actually is a Voltorb. In which case... I'm gonna cry. I just saved there just in case. We're gonna go with Sun. Jesus, Daddy's insane level. So he could fake out just in case. Ice Heal. Okay. I don't know what to think of that. Oh, Exploud could be very annoying. Oh my god. Pokemon pop up every second. How is it like living in Australia? Australia, eh? Do you have an accent? Do you have like a cool accent? Do you get annoyed when people talk about accents? Australian accents? Bruh. What am I doing? I love how the sprites are different sometimes too. It's kind of cool. Australia Pokemon would be much more diverse with some invasive species swell in the more populated regions. Ooh, yeah, they would be able to make it very interesting actually. Very interesting. I've met some Australians when I lived in Japan, and when I would get drunk, I would try to copy their accent, or I would say tomato to get them mad. They would be like, "It's tomato," and I'm like, "Oh, sorry." Trolling is fun. There it is. What's our static encounter, baby? Bro! Let's go? Let's go? Look at that beautiful Pokemon. Oh my god. Oh yeah, we're catching him. I get annoyed by the stereotypes, but I'm in a less accented area. They are correct. It is tomato. Whatever, bro. I think Fake Out won't kill it. It's fun to make fun of accents. Okay, good. Good, 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 good. Oh, good. Should I use my Master Ball? Come on, Great Ball. Okay, no problem. We might actually use this guy, bro. Oh, come on. Let's go! What are we naming him? Let's go! Let's go! What are we naming him? I personally live in a very foresty area. Oh damn! Not around civilization much. Floof. I want it to be part of the family though. Look at all the names we got here. You know. Try to think of a name that's similar to the names we have. You live on a hill? That's sick. You probably get so much exercise going up and down the hill. Like if you need to get to places. But it's probably annoying at the same time, yeah? Australians are cool. Fluffy. I'm in a suburban area, and you're on top of a hill. That's even more interesting to me. Alright, we got Daddy, Son, Aqua God, House, Mouse, I mean, and Daughter. Can we get like Stepson or something? Can we call him Stepson, guys? Please? Please, can we call him Stepson? Please? 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 Wait. Please? 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 Please. 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 I just wanted to do that. Anyway. Blue Mountains. Let's see what this is. Whoa, that's where you live? Are you kidding me? That looks beautiful. That's insane. You live on a, like, well, I'm assuming you don't live on that mountain, but... Stepson was stepchild? Oh, true. Nephew? Alright, we'll name him Nephew. Yeah, true. Stepson was our dead stepson. We'll name him Nephew. Not niece, nephew. In NSW? What's NSW? It is a very tourist area. Is that annoying, or are you okay with the touristy things? Nephew. Dude, Floof sounds cool, but we gotta go with the family, you know? Even though we didn't completely. We're probably gonna use Flaffy. Flaffy is a great Pokemon. Again, this Poo-Poo. And we caught him fairly easily, which is nice. I wonder if the Pokeballs are random, too. Ooh, let's see what we get. A Deoxys! Should we use a Master Ball? A Deoxys? Actually, I live on the exact mountain part that photo was taken from. Jesus. The tourists are annoying, but COVID removed them. Wait. We have to... Let's be big brain here, okay? We're gonna be big brain, okay? Alright? Let's be big brain, okay? Just for 1 second. Let's be big brain. Let's be big brain. Deoxys. Big brain time. Big brain time. All right. What does he learn? What does he learn? He's level 25, which means he'll learn. He probably has Psychic and Pursuit, and he's gonna recover Extreme Speed, Psycho Boost. Do we use the Master Ball? Okay, I think it's pretty clear we use a Master Ball here. I think it's pretty clear, okay? I think it's pretty clear to use a Master Ball. Yo. You're so beautiful, Deoxys! Let's do this. Even though I just saw the bottom of his face. Oh, he's so beautiful. Master Ball it is. It's actually quite flat on the top of the mountains, and I rarely leave here, unless I'm going to family or to Sydney. Damn. Well, but you live with family too, right? Oh my god. We got a Deoxys. We got a Deoxys, bro. Yo. We got a Deoxys. What are we naming him? What are we naming him? What are we naming him? What are we naming it? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm only 14. Yeah, I know, but, you know, you never know, so. I meant to see relatives? Gotcha. What do we name him? 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 Big Daddy? Should we name him Big Daddy? Oh, is he Speed Deoxys? Let's name him Big Daddy. Because we already have Daddy. He's Big Daddy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I'm not sure which one it is. Because I feel like I think the sprites are random. So, I'm not sure. Oh, that's such a beautiful name. Oh my god. We're catching such amazing Pokemon. No, fuck the red flute, bro. It's shit. They try to pretend like you gotta step on it, too. I kinda don't want to catch anything else. Alright, what is this? What is this gonna be? You know. Yeah, we got enough good Pokemon. That's fair. That's fair. We don't need a Wingull. Carbos. You forgot to clip? Oh, you're on your thing now? You could clip afterwards. What was that sound? You could clip. You'll have access to the VOD afterwards. So, but I mean, like, why would you want to go through everything? I guess too. So, but yeah. Hopefully it'll all be in the video. There's just so much cool stuff that happens in Nuzlocke. You know what I mean? It's hard to know if yeah. Well, okay. Where's the other stupid flute? Snaps Pokemon out of attraction? Actually kind of cool, question mark? Raises power of fire type. Oh, let's give this to Daddy. Oh, he has a lucky egg. No wonder he's such a high level. I didn't even realize. Let's give the lucky egg to, I guess, Sun, since he has a spot. I'm on phone still? Oh. Oh. Jesus. This is a we lost the man. But we made up for it with all these encounters. I think in my next Nuzlocke I might take off static encounters. Or I might do something. Another ice heal? Okay. We could escape rope here, but honestly I don't see a point. We could just fast forward through everything. You asked about NSW, yes. New South Wales. I thought you were saying not safe for work. It's called that because of being like Wales in the south, and it's new and named after Wales. Nice. Australians, very clear with their language, yeah? Bro, the encounters in this thing are insane. Okay, you know what? No, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. This is what we buy escape ropes for.
Where is escape? I want to escape my life.
No, I just want to escape this.
Bro, are you... Bruh. We bought escape ropes.
So you're in New South Wales then? NSW?
Bro. Did we not buy escape ropes?
Am I like bugging? As the kids say? Well, I guess we didn't buy escape ropes. Jesus. I forget I could just fast forward through stuff too. Oh my god. Bruh. What is this game? What is the... What? What's going on? I'm so confused. Some of the states there define themselves. Interesting. This is actually annoying. Why the hell do I get out? The only item I truly need, escape rope. Oh my god, I have to go all the way back and then go to press on the green thing? But then doesn't it block me? Ooh, a Grovyle would be so cool to get. I'm not complaining though. We got a freaking Deoxys, bro. I don't even need any other Pokemon. We might have a team of legendaries. I don't even know what moves he has though. That's this is one of the most annoying places in the... Jesus Christ! Oh my god. Finally. God damn. Oh. Release me from this torture. Yes. Oh, he gives me thunder, no? I think he gives me thunder. Oh, he gives me Thunderbolt. Which could be useful now for Ampharos. Oh, yes. How do you get Ampharos? Is it just leveling up? Ampharos Pokemon. Let's see. It doesn't even tell. What is this website? Jesus. Pokemon.com. They just made that up, bro. I've never seen that. Oh, he evolves at level 30. See what he learns. Ampharos is such a good Pokemon. Oh. Wait, I should see what he has. He might already have amazing moves. Western Australia, Northern Territory, South Australia, and Australian... That's really smart to name it like that. Where did you think the capital of Australia was? State and city? Bro, I'm American. I don't know the capital of my own country. Come on, bro. Australia... Tasmania. There's a curveball. You didn't think I would say that, huh? You thought I would say Sydney? Huh? I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. We have a Deoxys, though. What moves does he have? He has a Psychic in Pursuit. Oh. Thundershock. Not as good. He has Mach Punch, Comet Punch, and Pursuit. Jesus, I didn't realize he's that good. Okay, we're definitely using Nephew. Who to take out is the question, you know? Who to take out? Oh, it's so hard. This is actually a very hard decision. So hard that I might end stream here just to try to figure it out. Oh, but I want to keep playing. This is so fun. I don't know. Hopefully it's fun for you guys too. But what is the capital of Australia? I mean, it's just us two now here, but maybe it is time to end it. But you have to first tell me the capital of Australia, of course. And then we just head right, and we're gonna head to the next area. I want to see if you're gonna say Sydney, because basically all this. No, I don't, because it's what is. I don't know if it's Sydney. I have to remember like one or two other ones. Alright, let me save the game. Let me save the game. I'm so mad at myself that the green screen is not perfect. It like should be perfect. And the thing I'm mad is because I don't know why, but it is what it is. It's almost perfect. Hey Cortez, we're about to end. Look what we caught though. Oh, I don't know if he's in my party now, but... Oh, no, he's not. You'll have to see next episode. I was about to end. Here, let's see. Google Maps. Oh, wait, I have to be very careful so you guys don't see where I live. I don't want to get doxxed. Actually, it doesn't really show. Oh, it shows my previous... Wait, give me a second. Let me go to... Alright, there we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Australia, eh? I know where it is. It's right here. Jesus, is that how it's cut up? That's so easy. I have a friend who's from Tasmania, right here. And I have a friend who's from Perth. Damn, I didn't know Perth is that big. That you could see it on the map. Oh, that's sick. Victoria, I've heard of. Sydney, obviously. Is Brisbane the capital? I'm assuming Brisbane is the capital, and then Sydney is the, just like the, where everyone goes. I'm assuming it's like a trick thing. Am I right? Yo, Australia is actually divided up so cool. What the hell? It's like west. It's pretty much what you said. And then Queensland is here for no reason. Perth is the capital of Western Australia. Oh, Tasmania is great. Cool. Feliz Navidad. Is it New Year's? I don't know how to say goodbye. Adios, amigo. No? Sydney is where everyone goes. What's the capital of Australia, though? Of the country? Tell me, bro. I have to end stream. Capital of... I'm just gonna look it up. Canberra? Oh, yeah. I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed that. Now I know, though. That's interesting. Occupies part of Australian Capital Territory in southeastern Australia. I'm going to try to remember that. Especially because you told me, Chi. Cities you saw on the maps are the capitals of the states. Oh. So, Adelaide. Melbourne is the capital of Victoria. Canberra, Act. Oh, I see now. Sydney is the capital of New South Wales. Really? Oh, so you live in New South Wales. You live somewhere here, yeah? And then Brisbane is capital of Queensland. But then what's Gold Coast? Alice Springs? I've never heard of that one. Oh, there's no capital of the Northern Territory, I guess. And then Perth. Oh, Gold Coast is something else. It's Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. I've never heard of Adelaide. That's the only one I haven't heard of. I'm actually proud of myself. And I only know of Perth because of my friend. Melbourne. I corrected myself. You did tell me where. Darwin is the capital? It doesn't... Oh, I see it now. It's all the way on the top. Right here. I will end, unfortunately, here, though, unfortunately, guys. Sorry, Cortez and everyone. It's Melbourne? Oh, come on. Listen. Okay, listen. When you say a word in Japanese, and you're speaking in English, do you say it with a Japanese accent, or do you say it with an English accent? Like, do you say anime, or do you say anime? Do you say manga, or do you say manga? It's similar, okay? American accent, Melbourne. But then again, it's still English, so... Melbourne. I'll try to remember that. That's not a good comparison. Alright, good night, y'all. I'll see you guys on Monday. And by then, hopefully, I fix a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys Monday. Monger? Monger. Ah, for manga. Gotcha. My bad. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, accents, right? I do have to say bye, though. It's getting close to my bedtime. But honestly, I just want to eat something. And we made good progress, and I have to figure out who's next and stuff. Manga. Yeah, manga is the right way in Japanese, but manga is like English. But you don't say anime, I'm sure, right? It's anime. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll end it there. Manga? Yeah. Manga. Sorry to end mid-combo. But, yeah. Why are you laughing, Cortez? I'm so bad at ending streams. This is how I'm gonna end it. I need to have a catchphrase or something. Ping Pong Masters. Wait. Let me just end session and press some buttons here. Ping Pong Masters out. Thank you for following. Check out